All right, boys and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Classic Life podcast. Today we have the deep dive on Death Knights. Of course, we've got me and my boy Crix as the normal host, as well as Zirene now has been just crushing it with us. Zy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. It's been a packed day for me. Literally, my guild killed KJ, and I was like, I have to go. I don't even know if they're doing BT or anything. I look over, like my girlfriend's still in the sun. They're handing out loot right now, and I'm like, nothing's more important than being here. So I don't care what drops. So I'm just like, I gotta go. So yeah, and then after this, I'm going to I live in I guess my girlfriend lives in a place where like the whole block knows each other, and it's like they have like house parties regularly. So there's like a princess house party for like 5 people's birthdays after this.
What?
Yeah. So she's dressed up, and I don't know what I'm gonna do because it's a princess theme party. What do guys do at princess theme parties?
You can be a princess.
Prince.
That's fine.
I mean, the thing is, if I'm a princess, it ends up on the internet, you know, and then my kids have to see that someday.
Zirene, do you see what I'm wearing right now?
No, I don't see what you're wearing.
That's so true, dude. I twerked on stream today, and that's gonna the internet saw it.
Is that bannable? I don't know if that's bannable.
He was wearing pants. That's fine.
Yeah, I was wearing pants. It is what it is. It was really bad. I don't even know if you could call it that. It was like, it was really bad.
The things we do for stream content, I haven't twerked on stream, but I like danced in a maid outfit once. And
no way!
Yeah, there's clips of that. Bro. I danced to, I think it was twice. I think it was me likey.
Oh, those are wild, dog.
Yeah. Yeah, that was wild. Yeah, back when I did just chatting streams, it was a different world.
Oh my god, dude! Yeah, please post it, man.
No, somebody's gonna go digging for them. Oh my god, they're bad, but yeah. So far,
shaking ass for dollar bills, huh?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Hell yeah,
pays the bills.
Crix, my man, how you doing today, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, brother. I'm excited for this because I don't know anything about DKs, and I'm glad we're doing it on your channel so I can not have to worry about the background stuff and kind of just listen. I will be fielding questions the entire time, so I'm staring at chat to talk to people, so just shoot the questions in there, and I will obviously ask it when there's like a natural break for it.
Yeah, DKs are just melee warlocks, right? You put up dots, you have a pet. So this is
Unholy.
Exactly the same. I'm sure you'd be great at it.
We're warriors that cast spells. It's fine.
Yeah. That's what it is. All right, perfect. Yo, Deance, introduce yourself to everybody, guys. Shout out to Deance, WoWHead writer, and also DK Extraordinaire as our guest today. Introduce yourself, man. How's it going? Welcome.
Pretty good. It's like 9 a.m. here. I'm fresh off a run, kind of still exhausted because we were out until like 3 in the morning in Shibuya drinking, so a little, you know. But yeah, I'm the Death Knight head honcho over the Discord Blight Club, discord.gg/worms. That is our link.
Really?
That is amazing.
I'm making a DK little command for you.
I've been like,
thank you, Crix.
Part of the Death Knight theory crafting community in retail for as long as I've been playing WoW. I was like 17 when I first started, so it's kind of a return to form. I was only playing TBC just to play Death Knight, so
just waiting
just
the entire
to
time.
Yep.
That's so great. It's like setting up in the guild and everything. Just like, all right, dude, I love that. I love that. You said it was you just got married, so congratulations.
Thank you.
You're in Japan for your honeymoon.
Yes, yeah. She's still asleep, so I've got a couple hours here.
What is your favorite thing you've done so far on the honeymoon? Your favorite place?
Oh god. Favorite place. There was this tiny little cafe over an art studio in in Shibuya. And we went and looked at some paintings, and I found this like vintage like linen suit from like the 60s from a Japanese designer that doesn't exist at all anymore, and I'm really hyped about.
That's sick. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I like old suits, so
we'll never be able to see. Have you ever done a face cam reveal stream?
I in my professional life am a semi-public forward-facing medical professional, so there will never be a Dean's face reveal, unfortunately.
That makes sense then. That's what like my girlfriend like has like a very professional job, and I convinced her to finally like reveal herself on stream, and we did like the hot chip challenge last week. It was It was a rough. It was rough. The hot chip challenge is rough. If anyone's tried it, we found the Zirene clip.
Oh no,
Not we, but let's see this.
This is where we start off the podcast, huh? Oh boy.
Oh my god, wait, let me hide all of our faces
Like
for
4
1
years
second.
ago, bro.
Let me
Oh my
hide all
God.
of Oh my god, it's gonna be there.
Oh.
Oh my god!
I lived in a streamer house, man. This was just down in the. This was on table. I think it was boxes originally.
What the fuck are you doing, bud?
Now, is this a wig or?
Yeah, it's a wig. It's a wig.
Okay.
I was wearing a
Your
wig,
hair is very luxurious.
and then God, I had a plastic sword and shield, and we were the Xi Legion. So I would like welcome people to the Xi Legion by pulling the sword out, and being like, "Welcome, my brother, to the Xi Legion." And then I would just be like, "Thank you, man." I just welcome them in. It was like a nation of the Xi Legion. When we would raid people. I would send everybody out as an army. And then they had different sub emotes and stuff like that based on what tier you were. And I made I made my tier 1s the shields. They don't get to have swords. And then my tier 2s have swords. My tier 3s have banners, so they stay in the back and they don't have to fight. Because that would probably be what I would want to be in the war. I'd want to be the guy all the way in the back with the banner. So.
But like that person, like you can't. When you get attacked, if you get attacked like in a war like that, and you're the person holding the banner, like, are you allowed to drop it? Because then like people don't know which side, you know. Like, can you pull up a weapon or like
person to die though? So
that's fair.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Mm.
I was thinking about that the other day because like there's some like I don't know. I've seen some videos, or like maybe it was a movie or a TV show or something, and like there was like the drummer boy or whatever is really important because you like know like the pacing of the movement, and so if you stop doing your drums in time, that's like used to be a whole big ordeal, and it's like, damn.
Oh yeah. You got to keep the order.
Yeah.
That's why like a lot of people actually don't know this, that cavalry was actually invented and used to separate armies from different parts. So like cavalry would come in and they would chase a different part of the army off, and they wouldn't actually kill them. They would separate them, and then they turn around and go back at the main army. So they would, because people fleeing are not a threat to you. People cornered are a threat to you, because when people are cornered, they go, I have to fight. People running from you don't do shit. They just keep running.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the horses would chase people off, and horses are very expensive, so you don't want to fucking lose them, and they're like honestly more important than men back then. So yeah, you would just have people on horseback chase people off of the army, or part of this the main force, or if you'd section people off and just separate them, make them route them, and then you would come back in and outnumber the main force, and that's how you'd win. So yeah, cavalry back then was actually used for that more than anything else. So, little tactics lesson of the day.
Damn.
Something's over Zirene's camera right now.
I just made him.
Was it?
I just made you louder. That's what I was.
Okay.
That's what I was doing. I was just adding some volume, doing the volume touch-ups. Okay, guys, really fast. There's a lot of WoW news that came out this week. There's a really good video, if you guys all saw it, of the YouTubers that just like repost the blue post, and like it's so good, dude. Like this week, I made like 2 separate videos, dude. It's so spot on. It's just like right when something comes out, it's like, well, let me just say it, right?
Oh no.
Watch it. It's only short. It'd be funny.
Yeah, it's 1 minute long. Do you have it, Drix?
I'm completely out of touch on all WoW news for the past week. Because
a lot, dude. We'll go over everything, man. We'll go over everything. Let me.
I'm gonna send it to you right now.
Okay, perfect. I know it's in our private one, but I don't want to close like.
There you go.
All right. Look, let me pull it up right here. All right, I'm gonna pull it up right here for us.
As a content creator, I need to hype the fuck.
All right, here we go, boys. And shout out to whoever made this, the classic tuber. His name's the classic tuber. He's the best.
Holy fucking shit, blue post alert. As a content creator, I need to hype the fuck out of this, and guess what? I fucked your mum, and this means that you're not going to believe what just happened. Blizzard just announced that all raids are getting no XP, so fuck you. What does this mean, you may ask? Well, let me tell you while spouting the script so that I can keep your attention as long as possible with 1, 2, 3, maybe even a 4th quick shot in rapid succession. This means that you won't get XP from raids, but you're actually too dumb to realize what this means, so let me spell it out for you. You won't be able to level in raids. Yes, you heard it here last, folks. People leveling raids, and that is not alright. You can't do that. They want to make raids privatized, much like your internet connection should be. That's why I'm teaming up with Shitlane so that my internet connection is privatized and I can watch videos like Mr. Hands and not get prosecuted by my country for ingesting bestiality videos straight into my eye sockets. I remain hidden in the web. I am the dark that the storm fears. I'm creating an army of super soldiers that are preparing to combat the New World Order, and the government doesn't even have any fucking inkling because I'm rooted through fucking Hyperborea and Tartarus twice. Buy this VPN and give me money.
So on point.
And that is, by the way, that is
Huh.
that is his first video ever.
Yes. Yes, that is a
literally,
present
like,
for you.
3 subscribers.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That guy's
so
voice
make sure you
sounds so
guys like that.
familiar, though.
Yeah. It does
Who
sound
is
really
that?
familiar. It does sound really familiar.
Is he on there right now?
I'm in the podcast bed.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Sorry. Falcon sent cookies and sweets because we hit our highest sub count ever today. 825 subs. So I'm really
Wow.
fucking hyped on that.
Congrats, bro.
Congrats,
Yeah,
buddy.
thank you.
He didn't even have to dance in a maid outfit.
I didn't even have to dance in a maid outfit.
Yeah,
You know
for
he
one,
will. You
for
know,
1K.
You know if Kazakh King comes in here and goes, "Yo, I'll drop 100 subs if you wear a Playboy bunny outfit and start
Yeah,
dancing." he
oh
would.
my god.
1K
dude.
for the fishnets.
Yeah, you
For
know
the
he would.
fish. Yeah, foot reveal stream soon.
Oh God.
So pre-patch 11 days.
Pre-patch 11 days. Yeah,
How
they
do you guys
announced
feel about
all of the dates.
that, gentlemen?
I wish it was earlier. I'm glad it's gonna be so far out compared to the shit show that was TBC's launch. What was it, like 2-week pre-patch with like a couple of days notice, 11 days notice or something?
Yeah.
But
I wish it was sooner.
yeah.
But do you think they're going to be ready for launch? Are you kind of worried? Any of
Have
guys
you
a little
seen?
worried
There's
still?
so many bugs right now, right? There's so many bugs that like they needed to give us that much time beforehand, I think. And also they needed to give us like 2 weeks for the PvPers. There would have been like a backlash, obviously, right?
I mean, yeah, we saw what happened. What was it? 2 weeks ago when they just turned the PvP season off because
Yeah,
it was
on
for
accident.
retail?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy. Yeah, so accidentally doing that pre-patch, and then we have a week before the zombie plague event happens, and then a week after that we have actual the invasion. So pre-patch is almost a month long,
Yeah.
right? Because it's not until September 26th that we have the launch. So pre-patch is like a month long, and we do get Brewfest, the level 70 version of Brewfest confirmed.
That's the best possible thing they could have done, to be honest. I mean,
It was gonna be so overpowered.
it not so much overpowered. It would definitely upset the balance of power, specifically if they gave those mugs out. That would be there's a reason that one-handed melee classes don't have 226s in phase 1, and it's because they're already better than everything else. So gotta let casters have a little bit of time in the sun here.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, that's fair. Give them that shot. Plus, the weapons are just, that weapon is crazy. Everyone outside of the DK universe really like saw it as like getting a free trinket, but you get that trinket anyways from badges.
Yeah, and you can't use it with the badge trinket. So like the trinket was, the amount of badges you get every single week is so high that you're going to be buying BOAs in your first week anyway. Like,
Yeah.
What do you mean you
The
can?
bad-
You can use the. I mean, well, casters can use those trinkets. Not
They-
at the same time
After.
exactly, but after that, you can't pop them together.
Yeah.
You can still use them.
yeah,
I,
you can use
as
them
a
together.
caster, I rotated that trinket all the time. I love that trinket.
I don't know. The shared ICD makes me really, just because now that ICDs are triggered when you swap trinkets, just makes me
That's
less.
gonna be annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, like that makes me. It's not that worth it anymore.
I,
I
don't like that
think
change. I don't like that change that much.
That's
I
something
hate
that
that.
like was kind of cool that like Fark kind of pointed out once when we were doing early versions of Sarthe 3D before, whereas like you don't want your trinkets procking on Sartharion, you want it on the first dragon that lands when you did it like the old school way.
Yeah.
So you could swap your trinkets so that they're on the like 30-second ICD or they're on their cooldown, and then by the time you're fighting the dragon or the dragon lands, you could actually DPS the dragon with full cooldowns. So that was, it's kind, there's like potentially some usages out of it.
Except you don't do that, you're zerging hair down.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
yeah.
So
We're not- we're not-
relevant, but yeah,
we're not doing
boomers.
Yeah, dude.
that was the private server way to do that. But now we and that you're not, I think people will do that, But I think I think the Zerging, if they don't change it, that Zerging strat is going to be even easier because everybody's going to have better gear and stuff.
I think
Yeah.
the first
Easier than
kills
what
will be
we're doing.
Zerg. The first kills will
Oh,
be
yeah.
Zerg.
Oh,
'Cause
100%.
It's actually like
one shot Zerg,
faster.
it's got to be.
Yeah.
If it's a Zerg, it's going to be sad for some people because their classes, you're going to have to bring like the highest DPS classes to do Zerg week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
it's
gonna be
like
stacking
where's the
all of your-
mage, the unholy DKs, warlocks. It's
Mage
gonna
that
be-
good
yeah.
in a burst setting?
Oh yeah.
Your
Just
Arcane,
one
yeah.
of the
Yeah.
best
Ar-
bursts in the
Arcane
game.
mage,
Yeah.
yeah. If they can just blow their
Yeah.
entire mana pool without worrying about it, they do a lot of damage. Yeah.
I would say they're probably one of the highest bursts, if not. If they don't have to worry about their mana and they're burning like that or get evade, they're pumping.
High King Mulgar all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
6 seconds or what? 12 seconds was what it was.
Yeah, it was like 11.7 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think Sarthe was what 120 we got. I think the lowest we got was 120, 130, 110.
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
Which is like exactly. It's gonna be the same thing. Like you're gonna absolutely Zerg down the boss the first week even because the pre-raid BIS is like a lot stronger than what most people are using on the beta. You know?
Oh yeah.
Maybe
The
not
presets are
now,
so bad.
but yeah, the preset gear is rough.
Real quick, Sarthe, can you tell me how long we're into the recording, the exact recording?
16 minutes and 10 seconds right there. Yeah.
Timestamps, go ahead.
Perfect. Also news though, Blizzard is looking at the cooldowns. So right now there's a lot of cheesy things, and there's a lot of cheesy things that were going to come out with Blizzard's news that after killing or resetting or wiping to a boss, you were going to get fresh versions of all of your cooldowns. They gave us a list last night saying that the CDs we won't be able to reset are Army of the Dead, Lay on Hands, Fire and Earth Ellie Totems, Astral Recall, Reincarnation, and Ritual of Doom.
Is that the complete list?
That
They
is
said
the
they're gonna add
the
more.
cur-
didn't
yeah,
they?
this is currently, so they like
Okay.
highlighted it in white.
No Soulstone, no DI.
Yeah.
Those
no battle
have-
res either.
Have to be on there, right? But
Yeah.
but I mean, I know you guys are Deance, you probably haven't seen, but there's ways you could just hard reset bosses early on.
Yeah. The I heard
Show a
about the
clip.
hunter tech of sitting in Noth and resetting him, so the entire
show a
raid got
clip.
reset CDs. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Let me grab that. So also on top of that though, so Blizzard, I made a video about it last night, or 2 days ago, and Blizzard actually went in and patched it last night. They went in and patched it, so you could literally permanently vanish as a rogue also. So you could go in and then just like always keep vanishing, and pull the boss, and everyone has perma CDs. So Blizzard went in and did like it in the blue post here. Once the boss resets, right as the boss resets, you get your cooldowns back, and you keep all of the CDs you have up on yourself.
Okay.
So that is obviously going to be used for like Unholy Death Knights are going to get the craziest the craziest like an instant gargoyle early with like a bloodlust, and then and also you'll be able to get like a snapshotted bloodlusted Army of the Dead,
Yeah.
and then start the fight. Actually no, because Army doesn't reset,
and
but you still can anyways though, because you'll be able to use the bloodlust.
Yeah, and you'll get army every other fight as Unholy. Specifically, it's a 6-minute cooldown. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that big of a DPS cooldown. Us losing army per reset is not the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I hate Army in Nax, dude. Bosses start spinning around in circles.
Just
Yeah.
it taunts
that's-
everything.
That's
So
Is there
fixed.
no way to control
That-
that? Is there no way to
I
No.
hope that is.
It's fixed. It's fixed.
Okay.
That was a 1-week bug. That's no. They're
It's hilarious to me.
are
I never thought
now
about
immune
melee
to
having to be
taunts, yeah.
behind them.
They
though,
fix
yeah.
do they fix mirror images on Patchwork where he just goes absolutely nuts for them?
No, they didn't. No. Yeah, asking too much from Blizzard.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, dude.
But on top of this, though, they did say that they're putting measures in place so that you can't have like a hunter or other classes that can reset a boss just stay on that boss while the rest of the raid is in a different place, resetting the boss over and over again, right? So they're looking at it. But
Yeah.
I was in there testing earlier today, and you can actually, if you stay in combat with the boss for in between 27 and 29.6 seconds, there's some arbitrary number in there. But anything past 29 seconds, even if you are all the way in the other side of the raid and you've used Bloodlust or anything, it still does reset.
Huh.
So we might see like a rogue with like a double evasion spec currently until they fix it. They added in their version of like fixes, but it didn't actually do a full fix.
I sincerely hope that doesn't end up being the meta. I don't know, it's already so poisonous to speedruns as is with everything resetting, just kind of taking all the brain out of cooldown tracking, that having cooldowns constantly flickered is only going to make I loathe to say this word, but degeneracy even more rampant.
Yeah.
It's true.
I feel like at the end of the day, like Blizzard is not going to really balance things around speedruns. They're going to do it for the average player, and this is like a very good change for the average player. They don't want to wait around for Lust or anything like that. And I think that Warcraft Logs is probably, at the end of the day, going to have to put something in that stops speedruns from abusing this. Whether it's something along the lines of, boss combat or damage or abilities cast on a boss, besides Hunter's Mark or prep abilities that don't result in a kill, add 2 minutes to your log or something, right? Or something where the categories are with boss resets, without boss resets, and without boss resets is the main category, right? It'll have to be something like that, is what I'm thinking is going to happen at the end of the day to preserve speedruns. Because this is just going to be something that people can do and go really fast at doing or parse very well.
Yep.
And I think speedrunners, there are some people who think that speedrun means good parse. Sometimes it does, but then sometimes you're the warlock on Muru who never gets to seed anymore because you're killing it in one phase and you have a 67 parse in like the world record speedrun. It's like, this is just how it goes. If you're playing optimally, a lot of the times your parse is not going to be good in a speedrun. But if you're like a big damage dealer, that doesn't have any other job, normally you will have to, or you will parse well alongside having a good run. But that's not going to be the case so much anymore. Is what I'm feeling. So
I mean,
gonna have to kind of separate the two.
CDs are resetting does kind of help that a little bit, because like so much of the bad like parsing that came from speedruns was because warriors having to use cooldowns on trash because they just weren't optimal for bosses. With just cooldowns being constantly up after every boss, it does help a little bit there.
Yeah, and it also brings like the idea of if a boss is gonna die right before your CDs happen, you could wait and then don't kill it, stop DPS, pop your CDs, kill it instantly, and then like drag the boss or like go into the next pack with like full cooldowns and a chain of your next version of cooldowns. Like everything is gonna be right up or up again, so you'll do more damage on overall. But it definitely takes away of like also like any sort of like or more of the decision making.
Well, one of the things that this is going to change for, I guess, me personally is like, I've talked about Prot Warrior a lot with like, I'm using double Sunder glyphs, right? Using Devastate plus Sunder. So I do 3 Sunders every Devastate. I don't have to use my Last Stand glyph or my Shield Wall glyph anymore. I can have a 60% Shield Wall instead of the 41 because I'm going to get the cooldown more frequently. So I could actually just use like the Cleave glyph and hit 3 targets with Cleave, or I could use something like the Shockwave glyph with reduced cooldown. So it allows some classes that were leaning on cooldown reduction glyphs for having them in back-to-back boss fights, because the boss fights are chained together. You don't really have to worry about that as much anymore. So you can actually just glyph something different, and it's going to change some people's glyphs and meta, or the meta for their glyphs.
Oh yeah,
which I think is nice, because cooldown glyphs are not always the most interesting thing.
I think also it's going to change a lot of composition choices too, with just some classes going from being kind of substandard to just immediately better because of this change.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. And it makes cooldown classes better. Rogues get another nice little buff here. And it allows them to potentially do more on overall. Imagine having like a 3-minute and 15-second fight where you pop AR right after the fight. You pop your second AR at 3 minutes, 15 seconds into the fight, it wears off. You get it back, go into the next trash pack, pop another adrenaline rush. So you get 3 ARs in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. It's like
Demo locks as well.
It's insane.
Demo locks are
Demo
pretty big.
Demo locks are a big one.
Yeah,
It's a very big one.
Yeah, and that's where I think DK is kind of the how much are you going to be able to get out of a DK with like Gargoyle constantly? How much are you going to be? It might put you on top of having to snapshot things a little bit more frequently, which does add a little bit to the skill expression. But I think one of the things I'm a little bit sour about is that managing cooldowns is one of the most entertaining or interesting things for me. The little game I have to play with remapping my cooldowns based on how fast we're going, etc. And this just kind of takes that out of it, so I don't really have to worry.
Yeah, you'll have it up for like the next important thing.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, yeah. There's a lot of times like not using a CD in like Sunwell on like Brutalis or something, so you could like PSA corrosion.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll be big. I think this adds like for Unholy, it makes this like big difference between like when people go fast, they're gonna have a very big like parse difference than like the Unholies that are resetting every time, because if you can get that gargoyle up and then fight the boss, right? Like reset, get a snapshot of gargoyle and start the boss with a gargoyle live and summon a new one a few seconds later, or even later.
Does gargoyle follow you?
Yeah, well, you can control it too. Yeah, if you with your pet, if you we'll talk about this later.
Pet follow and pet stay and pet attack most of the time.
Most
it's a little
of the time,
finicky, but
so you can like recall your pet basically, and then send your pet, and it'll go and attack and follow that. Yeah,
gotcha.
I think you're going to see a lot of that, and I think parsing guilds, at least in speedrunning guilds, there's just no time to reset bosses before you pull, just because the loss of 15 seconds can really add up on what is Nax 12 bosses, 13 bosses?
10, 12, 14.
You guys been in action classic, you don't know the answer?
Listen,
man, who knows?
I was a warrior in classic. I don't remember anything except for whirlwind and cleave, okay? My brain is just...
I was a rogue. There was a lot of timing out your CDs. That was like by far the biggest difference between like the top rogues and stuff and other people on overall, was like we had all like completely mapped out.
14, right?
All over 15. Yeah. See, easy.
I feel like I'm being lied to. I'm being gaslit here.
Well, I didn't play classic. I got an excuse. What's up?
Feels like 15. It feels
There's three
like
wings.
15.
3 wings of 4.
4, and then you have 2.
3 wings of 4.
Wait,
no,
3.
No,
hold on.
3. It's 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, right?
4, 4, 3, 3, 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whatever. Oh my god.
Right? No, 3, 3,
No,
3,
it's
4,
3.
2.
It's 3 of 3, and then 1 4, and then 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Frostwing is 2.
Yeah. So it's 15. Yeah.
Yeah. 15, guys.
Construct is 4.
Obviously, it's 15. Duh.
Construct is the only one with 4. Yeah.
Yep. There was. I'm glad we were able to figure that out. Yeah.
I used to know back when you had to parse on them, and I would just see like a giant screen full of bosses. It's also like a loot thing too.
Let me ask you something. I've never touched a DK more than tanking, and it was a very bad experience on my part. How do DKs feel in the beta right now? How do you think they feel right now, Sarthe? What do you guys feel?
think they
circle. How do you guys feel about it?
Yeah, I think they feel phenomenal. I'm glad that they fixed the death rune glitch. It was giving people more damage than they needed, because it's hard. It's kind of hard to play around. Where one death rune was working at.
Yeah, it was just frost.
Yeah,
I think Morb doesn't even take anything that gives him blood or death runes except for just blood tap, right?
Just blood tap. Yeah, you don't go into reaping.
Yeah.
Surge, reaping.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was boosting frost a little bit.
Yeah.
But still, it feels really good. I don't know. What do you think, Dance?
I like Frost. It feels very good to play, but there's just something so primordially fun about Unholy right now. Like it's the amount of haste, even like I'm not a sigil abuser, but like the amount of haste you've got, how fast you're attacking, getting to use 2 fast one-handed weapons feels so good. Like it shouldn't feel good after using, slow one-handers for so long, but just seeing an endless like just wall of numbers every time you touch something is so fun. And gargoyle snapshotting feels rewarding. It's overall, the class just feels very fun, very competitive. It's a big step up coming out of TBC classes for sure.
Yeah.
Is DK? I mean, it's kind of hard. I guess I'm trying to say if something's easy, medium, or hard. But how is it playtime? Because sometimes I'll be doing heroic spams, or even in our Nax runs, and I'll see DK's doing nothing. But then sometimes there's that DK that's fucking mud stomping me.
So Frost is a bit more complex. There's a lot more thought and planning that goes into it. You have to plan around how you're going to be using your runes. You have to plan around maximizing like your runic grace usage so that you can get in the maximum amount of GCDs without wasting any runes. Unholy is a very paint by numbers spec, except for in your opener. It's if you don't get your opener like exactly right though, even a single missed proc, you're losing 15% of your damage overall in a fight. So like it's like Frost is definitely much more attention paid throughout the length of a fight. Unholy feels way more challenging in those first 5 seconds and way more punishing like in those first 5 seconds.
Yeah. I feel like learning the opener feels like the clunkiest thing for a lot of people, probably. Yeah.
I mean, the amount of people that don't know you're supposed to start in like Unholy Presence, and it's such a big damage gain.
Yeah.
And then swapping presences like mid fights within the first 5 seconds. It's a very unintuitive opener.
For random and off topic, in the middle of that's a weak aura that's doing like a spell replay thing with the GCD. Is that what that is?
Yes, so that's showing my GCD on the last spell I used.
Does that work for every class or only you guys?
It should work for every class. This week aura pack is made by Bach. They're one of our like the head honchos in Blight Club. They do most of our math alongside like me and Char and the other sim devs like Rain and Juper.
Yeah, that looks dope. I have used one too, but I use spell replay. That's dope how it like has the countdown for the GCD and everything on it.
Yeah, I think Trophy GCD is the add-on I use like in Rita or in TBC right now that kind of does the same thing where it shows your GCD in like a bar like that as well as the previous spells you've used.
Yeah, that is really, really clean. Do you like, I was gonna say, like, are you using one of the custom weak auras that you made, or like is all of this entire DK HUD made by Bach, and is it in the Discord for everyone to be able to find in the Blight Club Discord?
So yeah, this is like all the weak auras I'm using here are the official Blight Club like sponsored weak auras, all made by Bach and Char, and it's kind of a conglomerate effort. Most of it is put in by Char and Bach though. And they're all just available in the add-ons and weak auras thread. They're just pinned in there.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah.
Some link while we're doing it. Go ahead.
Okay. Perfect. There was other news that came out this week, and oh my gosh, how do you feel? Oh, you probably haven't heard about this, but they announced that PvP gear Season 4 gear will be available for Honor. And they're transferring all of your arena points instantly into Honor. So they did not put in yet the like Death Knight Season 4 gear. I know it came in late originally in the version of the game. It wasn't out on like launch of Wrath.
Yeah, it was a Kata pre-change, I think, when they were... I think that was actually like mid-Kata or something when they gave us Transmog. So I don't expect them to give us the actual set, but it'll be very nice to be able to buy weapons because they are your second best for pre-best, yeah.
And they're really cheap. It's like 19K for the main hand, and if you get like the fast offhand, if you were to, it's 9,000 Honor, and then two-handers are like 29, I believe. Someone in chat can tell me, but that would be like a day.
It's like 3 or 4 hours on an AV weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna go into
28
Warsong Gulch, and it's gonna be like out of the 10 characters, 8 are DKs.
Oh, it's gonna be 10 DK v 10 DK.
Yeah. Everyone's gonna be gearing their characters in the pre-patch like crazy. What do you think is actually? I don't know if this is a good segue, but like the fastest way to gear your character. I know we're getting into a whole section into that later.
I mean, so my plan is just to have like our guild full zoot me and get carried through. Hey, you can me. Maltese has already given me the A-OK. I'm getting a full zoot. But like, just farming badges, doing 10 mans is a great way. Most of the badge gear is very good still. PvP, the PvP weapons are just period. If you don't have the gold to go into a Sunwell pre-farm or trash farm to get that pole arm, the weapon is the best you're gonna get. Like it's better than anything else except for Sunwell weapons. So I mean, 5 mans are a great way too, since the badges are just gonna flow in like water. You can get most of your gear set from like 1 or 2 crafted pieces, and just PvPing and doing 10 mans very easily.
Yeah.
What about the when the Scourge event happens and the plate blessed set?
Yes, that's very good, and the weapon is also very good. You're gonna have to fight people for that more than you would like Zulamon gear.
The
but-
the Arcanite Reaper thing.
oh yeah,
Arcanite Ripper,
Yeah.
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 everyone's
I mean-
gonna want that for roleplay.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's a new boss in Karazhan that comes out with the Scourge
Yeah.
Invasion event, and this is pretty much the only thing he drops is the Arcanite Ripper, and
Yeah.
it's basically has like an active where you can play the guitar, right?
Yeah, it's 100% drop chance. He's always up. He's in the
Servants' quarters, yeah.
and he's from what I remember is like, and I was literally 12 years old when Wrath came out. I believe you could still just 3-man him because like I have one of these on my mage and my warrior from 2009. God,
I'm pretty sure you can. Yeah, I think that like the if you're somebody who's just putting your DK kind of on the back burner, like getting the small amount of necrotic runes required to get your set is probably like a good idea because I think that's like
Oh, yeah.
strength and haste or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Like,
like some
pretty
percent
nice.
damage, right? To undead, it's like 6% or something like the original.
6% when you have the full set, yeah.
one, which is very good. So
Very, very good.
Yeah.
What he's asking is to move to buy season 4 gear with honor, or is to move to save the honor for 80.
so if I remember correctly, Honor is supposed to reset when Wrath launch, isn't it?
It hasn't in I mean it didn't in the
TBC.
first for TBC. But I personally would absolutely get the brutal weapons, right? The
Yeah.
weapon is so strong, right?
100%. You buy the weapons, and I mean also the PvP gear from Honor at 80 isn't that great. So unless you're PvPing, like the wealth of epics and blues that are so easy to get, that are so much better at 80. The only PvP piece you really want at 80, unless you're an orc, is the sigil is Unholy.
Yeah.
It's pretty much
So-
like your
and
best
that's
sigil for the
easy.
entire game, right? You just keep
Uh,
PvPing.
Yeah, you're gonna end up
It
farming
is.
that sigil. Like, there's some conversation about maybe the ICC sigil is a little better, but it's gonna be PvP sigils as Morb the entire way through because it's.
Which-
Which one's the ICC one? Is that the?
Let me pull it up here.
Show the sigils, please, Sarthe.
Yeah, savage.
Yeah, the sigils are all really weird. Where there's like Plague Strike damage, Icy Touch damage, Plague Strike giving you AP, and then there's the one that like Obliterate really hits hard, and I think it affects Scourge Strike, but you don't even take that one. Yeah,
Hey,
the
that
Plague-
one is really good for Frost, but if
Yes,
you
very
were
good for
doing
Frost.
two-handed Unholy, it would be good.
Yeah, you use it as
Yeah.
two-handed, but two-handed is that's a topic for a little later.
Yeah, that's a Shadowmourne topic.
That's a big. Oh my
yeah,
god.
that is a Shadowmourne topic. Yeah. Let's see.
What's
so-
Shadowmourne? Never heard of it.
This is the first sigil you'll be getting, that easy one. Plague Strike gives you 94 attack power for 6 seconds. You're using Plague Strike all the time as Morb spec, so
It's the only thing you
in-
use Unholy on besides like Death and Decay and Army, right?
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
In ICC, the sigil is Sigil of the Hanged Man. Obliterate, Scourge Strike, and Death Strike grant you 73 strength for 15 seconds, stacking up to 3 times.
That's
So
if
that
you
is
have
better.
Scourge Strike, yeah.
Well, at that point, you'll be using Scourge Strike. The weapons will have caught up enough to make it worthwhile. So,
Yeah.
that's-
Is that
that'll
where
be
you
what
use? Oh, that's where you use dual wield and you Scourge Strike.
Yes.
Yeah, to
Oh,
keep
are you
this
still
stacked.
using a fast main hand?
Offhand fast.
Offhand.
Main hand slow.
Yeah, at the point you're gonna want
Yes.
to use Scourge Strike, you're gonna want to slow main hand.
Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I figured. Cool.
Yeah. This one, and I've read something about an internal CD on this. I don't know if there is. Do you know?
It would have to stack 3 times within 15 seconds, or
Yeah,
be
it
able
would
to
be a
proc
short-
again within it.
Yeah.
I think it's got like a 2-second or something ICD at most. I don't have anything listed in the sim, but we also we're not super looking that forward out to stuff yet.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. This sigil is crazy. That's gonna be a fun
Mhm.
one.
Oh,
And it kind of like changes your play style, literally, around this sigil with you
Oh, yeah.
having Scourge Strike.
usually we go into class changes and then to spec overviews, but seeing as there wasn't a class in TBC.
How does it change?
I
Yeah,
mean, there's going to be
is there-
one big change. If you're unholy, you'll stop using a 2-hand when you hit 80, and there's your changes.
There you go. Perfect.
That was a question someone posed earlier, and obviously you just mentioned it, and I know the answer. But at 70, like,
Yeah, at 70, you don't have enough talent points to get Gargoyle and Icy Talons, so you're
Icy
going
Talons,
to you're going to be playing 2-hand Scourge Strike as unholy at
Yeah,
70.
and Icy Talons and improved Icy Talons double dips. So
Yeah.
What you end up doing is you get like a 25% increased attack speed with 20% on top of that afterwards when you spec into Icy Talons and Imp Icy Talons. So,
Yep.
like when you're using like a 2.6 speed weapon, you're going down to almost like 1.7 or something like that. So Unholy is very, very, very fast when you're using like 1.6 speed weapons like Last Laugh or whatever. So you're swinging very, very quickly.
Yeah, I was getting like, even without sigil, the broken sigil, I was getting into like 0.7 seconds on my swings.
And this is intended. This is absolutely intended. There's actually an old school
So fast.
ghost crawler post from back then that explained it.
We have it pinned in the channel because so many people ask us about it.
Yep.
Really?
Yep. Because basically DKs get 45% attack speed all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're expecting to improved Icy Talons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
As long as you have icy touch up, yeah.
Yep.
Which is
I have
easy.
been corrected by White Wolf actually. We are swapping out the PvP sigil in TOGC for Virulence, which is just another. You have a chance to grant yourself 200 strength when you use Scourge Strike.
Yep.
Yeah,
the difference between like a lot of the sigils and stuff like that is in TOGC it's a chance to give you this thing, and then in ICC it's this thing gives you this. Like those are literally the differences.
It's
between
listed
the
at 80%. Okay,
all the
this
time.
is the one with the cooldown. Okay,
Yeah.
this is the one with the cooldown.
yeah.
I was thinking of the 10-second cooldown. Yeah, 80% chance.
You'll have 100% uptime on it.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
in Ulduar, right now it is showing that the Ulduar sigil is also still better. So your PvP one's only going to last through Nax.
Mm-hmm.
That
So
being
this
said,
looks
it's still
like you're
very
going to be.
close.
This looks like you're only going to be using fast weapons for phase 1, 2, maybe
in your main hand.
in your main hand.
So
Yes.
as dual and holy, you can use fast offhands the entire way through, because nothing is touching your offhand damage except for white swings. You don't have any talents that make your abilities hit with both weapons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you care about on your offhand? Is it like just raw damage or like the?
Yeah.
I guess stats to some degree, because you guys are going to be using like a tank offhand most of the time, right?
Yeah, so it's raw DPS and stats. Raw DPS is one of the biggest factors. Last Laugh is kind of a situational with why it's so much better, because there's no real good other weapons in that tier. The stats are okay. It's only got it's 1 DPS or 1 tank stat on it. And then
Yeah,
the
one
other
defense rating 31.
Mhm.
Well, parry also 34, but it's got hit rating and
yeah, it's got hit
strength,
and
and
Which is
so much
boss
attack
weapon, last
damage.
boss
Yeah.
weapon, so it's
yeah, its DPS is way higher. It's got strength on it, which is just by and far way better for us than attack power is. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
literally when I'm making like my tank BIS lists, I have to exclude this item because it's just going to go to unholy DKs for forever. This isn't even a joke. Like all my tanks are like, oh, like don't even put Last Laugh on your list if you're in a competitive or speedrunning guild, because it's not going to matter so much for your threat. And there's like secondary options that are okay. But this is like definitely the unholy DK. I think you want 2 of these as well, right?
So the second one it's only the offhand one is only like 3 DPS better than using was it Hailstorm?
Hailstorm. Yeah, Hailstorm.
So like you can still use Hailstorm in your offhand and just take Last Laugh in your main hand. But it is technically 3 DPS better in your offhand as a morb. So I mean,
Some people are gonna fight for it, so
Oh, yeah,
that's
for sure.
it's
It is what it is.
significantly better in your main hand, but for that offhand, it's fine.
Yeah.
So I want to get into a question that like I've had, because I've even played DK like Blood Frost. I really don't touch Unholy. I don't know why. I just don't like pet classes. Period. Never gonna touch them ever. And I people have explained this to me multiple times, but I still don't understand the rune grace period. Like everybody talks about it. I understand it allows your runes to come up a little bit faster, but I don't understand the benefit of it, why I should do it, and like why people are like using death and decay out of combat, aside from like potentially even just getting extra runic power. Like I don't know what the rune grace period is and how do I use it.
Yeah, so
It's a great question. Yeah.
runes function on the basic premise that every 10 seconds they are going to refresh. The game was built. I mean, the system was built before we had the very nice system of like spell batching or spell queuing properly. So rune grace is a period in which for 2.5 seconds after a rune refreshes, it continues counting down its 10-second cooldown as if it had been used immediately. So it's to account for in case you say have high MS, if you physically cannot hit an icy touch the second your frost rune comes up, instead of losing 0.7 seconds, 0.8 seconds, or up to 2.5 seconds off of that rune, because you're instead of resetting it to that 10 seconds after you use it, it counts as if you had used it immediately. So you're not wasting time on runes. You're getting your same allotted 1 rune per 10 seconds. So it's all it is it's just functioning, or meant to function, as a buffer for latency. It's more than that now, because we can use it for things like fitting in extra frost strikes, or the big one for like frost is fitting in a pestilence without wasting any runes. So your dots don't drop off, and you don't waste like 2 seconds or 1.5 seconds off a rune that you would have had to just waste that time on that rune when it refreshes. So you get those extra obliterates, which it does add up in those cycles. It's very minute to when looked in like an exact point. You just have to think about it as like you're saving 2.5 seconds on a rune, or you're saving a loss of 2.5 seconds on a rune 30 times throughout a fight.
Yeah.
So how am I doing this? How do I do this?
So let's just
You think I'm doing it right now without knowing about it? Is that something that happens? Like, can I accidentally be using it?
Yes, so you can actually.
Yeah.
So here we go. Someone just messaged me about this. So the biggest example of Rune Grace abuse, Frost delays an oblit once like on a GCD to use a Frost Strike to spend a killing machine so that they don't refresh so they want to not miss the killing machine proc on that Frost Strike, even though your runes have just refreshed. So instead of hitting that obliterate immediately, so you don't lose the 1.5 seconds on those runes when you hit Frost Strike, you instead can just Frost Strike, use the killing machine, not risk wasting it if it procs on the swing, and then obliterate within that 2.5 second window, and your runes just continue on regenerating as if you had hit it immediately.
Okay, so I can use my runes while another thing is being cast GCD wise. I can spend the runes before I'm actually spending them.
The runes will still count down as if it's spent.
Yeah, they count down as if you had spent it exactly the GCD they refreshed. With a buffer of 2.5 seconds is the maximum amount it'll allow you to cheat that.
Up to.
So when a rune comes up, there's a small grace period that allows you to cast it, and then it thinks that you were trying to cast it before.
Kind of. So let's say I have all of my runes on cool, or I've got all of my runes on cooldown. I have enough runic power to cast 1 Frost Strike. I've got an Unholy Rune and a Frost Rune that just this one GCD, immediately they refreshed. So I'm in that 0.01 second where I can either hit my Obliterate to put those runes on cooldown again to maximize the amount of runes I'm spending throughout the fight. Or I can use my Frost Strike to use my Killing Machine proc that's up, so I don't waste the Killing Machine proc. What you can do is by hitting that Frost Strike, your runes are still counting down from the instant they reset. They count down to 7.5 seconds, that 2.5 second buffer window. And if you use them within those 2.5 seconds, or even if you use them past those 2.5 seconds, it refunds you the cooldown up to 2.5 seconds. So at 1.5 seconds after they refresh, I hit that Obliterate. That's the GCD after you've hit the Frost Strike immediately. And then instead of going to a 10-second cooldown again, those 2 runes I spent on Obliterate are now at 8.5 seconds on their cooldown. So they act as if you had used them immediately. It's a little grace window to make up for latency.
So DKs are kind of doing this without really knowing about it.
Yeah, every time you kind of delay using runes because you just say you had to move for a second and your runes kind of stack up when you're moving, you're making use of this. If you look on my gameplay here, if we fast forward to me hitting something, you can see my weak aura. But the one Bach has made here, the weak aura tracks that the runic grace period once I'm hitting something. One of the big things I think actually that most people are confused about with the runic grace period as well is that it only happens when you are in combat.
In combat, yeah.
Yep. And it also happens if you are using a rune to initiate combat. So if you death and decay something, those runes will be affected by a runic grace period. And now that I'm looking at this video, I realize this is an old video and it doesn't have a runic grace period. Yeah. We've updated the weak aura, so it now shows you the runic grace period.
Would I be able to find one?
I don't think I have a video. I don't think I linked you guys a video of it because I haven't streamed in a while.
Or you can just get the weak aura and go on the beta and do it on the dummy.
Yeah. I was just showing a second ago is in combat holding off on using runes, and then when using the Frost Rune, basically after you've waited a little bit, when it comes up, it'll be then on like an 8-second timer or less, right?
Yeah,
So
8.5 is the lowest it'll go.
Yeah.
Or sorry, not 8.5. 7.5 is the lowest to go. It's a 2.5 maximum time.
Mine's bugging. 1 second. Can someone repost that week aura in
I
Discord?
got you. Give me a second.
Yeah.
So if you were to just spam Icy Touch right now,
Oh, there it is. He's in chat right now.
you would just get
Oh, thank you.
it would say 8.5 seconds for one of the starts, right?
Nope. If you just spam
If you're
Icy Touch
spamming it,
every
yeah.
GCD, you'll get 10 seconds for each rune.
Okay.
So,
if he spams Icy Touch and then when a rune comes up and he like uses a Frost Strike, then
Or
he
even just-
Icy Touches.
yeah, or even just sits there for 2.5 seconds. And you don't have to use anything in that GCD. It just counts as if you had
Gotcha.
used. Yeah.
So
This up.
what I've been told is kind of like just like, you know, runic power in terms of like, because you have two resources you're juggling as a DK, your runes and your runic power, right? So between those two, it's always been like spend your runes as they come up to get them on cooldown as fast as possible. And this kind of changes that where you can weave in runic power dumps when your runes are coming back up just to use this, right? So you don't feel as punished for like using runic power dumps and like staying at or stopping yourself from hitting like 130 runic power.
Yep. Yeah, so the only spec that really takes advantage of that is Frost because they
Yeah.
are so tightly GCD locked. Unholy, you're just using runes as they come up. It's rarely ever going to be like the only time it really comes into effect is you need to like kind of wait for 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds, so you have enough runes to cast a D&D. That's like the only time you'll see it come into play for Unholy, really. Otherwise, it's a really passive system that just kind of it gives you a bit of padding when you are using things that aren't your like immediately refreshed runes, so you're not.
So
being
like a
punished
killing
by the
machine,
system.
I should basically just be Frost Striking every time I have killing machine.
You do, yeah. You want
Yeah.
to maximize unless you are going to waste time on runes that could be spent to obliterate. You want to use those killing machine procs.
Okay.
A couple questions from him. The first one is, why does the weapon speed of your main hand seem not to matter at all for Unholy DK? Wouldn't it logically be slower when increase the damage of a few abilities?
It increased the damage of your Plague Strike, your Blood Strike, and that is it. And
Those
those
hits
are
so weak.
they are such small portions of your DPS that it physically doesn't really matter compared to the DPS you're gaining from just your raw white hits. So that's why we prefer. Well, it's not that you prefer fast weapons in your main hand as Morb. It's the fact that you can take them as long as the actual DPS of that weapon is better.
Yeah, and the last laugh is just such a
Last
strong
Laugh is-
weapon
yeah.
this phase.
It's a 226. Like it hits very hard.
White Wolf says, and FC uptime.
Frost
say?
wants slow in both hands.
Yes, Frost
'Cause they
wants
hit
slow
with all.
because they hit. Yeah, they are still white hit based, but because their Oblit cares about both of their weapons, so does their Frost Strike. They want weapon damage.
Yeah.
Do you think that anything is going to change regarding Unholy dual wield versus two hands, or is it already kind of straightened out for all of Lich?
The only time we see it being better is Shadowmourne. Shadowmourne is the great equalizer. Other than that, two hands are just not very good. Scourge Strike is kind of meh, and that's the big strength two hand has going for it. You're doing less auto attack damage. You're getting one less enchant, which is very strong with how consistent black magic looks for snapshotting.
Yeah. It is like always up when you're snapshotting.
It is a very high proc chance, it seems.
Yeah. It's so crazy. I love it. It's such a fun one. What's up, White Wolf?
Yeah, and White Wolf is talking about FC uptime as well. It's much better.
Yeah. And it's nice. Well, I guess we'll do this.
FC?
when we
What's
get-
FC?
Fallen Crusader. the
Oh,
better
Fallen
champ.
Crusader. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Gotcha,
you want
gotcha.
to next? We can do spec overviews for Blood, Frost, and well, if you want to talk about Blood DPS, Frost, and Unholy, and then I'm gonna
Yeah.
link the talents from WoWHead from Deance's WoWHead, and you can show that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which one do you want, Frost, Unholy, or do you want to touch on Blood at all? Because I'm curious about Blood. I know Ruggs was here showing it out, so let's talk about Blood DPS. Can we
Yeah.
talk about Blood for a little bit?
So
for those
Blood
wondering,
is...
we're not doing tank. We're having a completely different tank episode. For those wondering about Blood tanking, it's all DPS.
Mother. That tank episode is going to be interesting, though. That's
can't
gonna
wait.
be
That's-
really-
We're going to
gonna be
let
a
you
fun
talk so much. Me and Crix just sit back.
There's a lot of specs that can tank, man. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Way more tanks
You're-
than before.
You're getting me on for the Warden talk, right?
Mhm.
So blood DPS is it's not terrible. I'm trying to be nice about this. It's not good though.
I have some Rugs blood DPS footage.
It's shit, man. Like this thing doesn't bring any raid buffs besides one that you already bring. So it has like no spot in a raid. Like if you bring no raid buffs and you don't do the same damage as like other classes, you're literally the rogue of TBC up until Sunwell. Like it's like, wait, do we really need the expose? It's like this guy doesn't even have expose. You don't do good damage. You don't bring raid buffs. It's like, so the only reason that a blood DPS would ever be brought to raid is if your GM plays a physical damage class and they want your Hysteria or Unholy Frenzy. It's like the only reason they would take you. I was watching the Rug stuff. He gives himself Unholy Frenzy the entire time. So I was like,
it's like it's
damn it.
Its burst is worse than Unholy. Its AoE is worse than both of them. Its single target is worse than both of them. Its overall is worse than both of them. It doesn't bring any unique buffs, unlike both of them. It has a very unique niche with 2-target cleave that may see some play in ICC, maybe when you're in full BIS, when like that's the only time we're seeing it eke out ahead of the other specs. Like you've got a Shadowmourne, you've got Armor Pen Cap, you are a Londo, and you are here to play blood DPS. That's the only scenario we're seeing blood even being like viable, worth bringing. It's a funny meme, but it's just really bad.
There you kind of have it. Yeah. We don't have Rugs here to defend it right now.
I was just say that. We don't have Rugs to defend it.
Rugs knows how bad it is. He does this just to get people to at me with the stupid, you should play blood DPS clip that's in Blood Club.
Rugs like spicing shit up. That's why I love it so much.
He'll like at me with logs after a raid testing of like, look how much damage I did, Deance, with blood testing, and it's because he's got like
he got the sigil too,
sigil on, and he got another Hysteria from another Death Knight.
Yeah.
I linked you the Unholy and Frost talents if you guys can pick whatever one you want to go first. I'd probably say it seems like Unholy is if you want to do like Frost first, maybe, since people keep asking about Frost and someone said is Frost dead and stuff like that. So we are going to talk about Frost. I guess you can talk about the Frost versus Unholy right now before you go into it, whatever you want. Yeah.
And the different Frost builds.
Yep.
Yeah, so Frost has got 2 kind of unique builds. It's got a sub blood and a sub unholy. To start the expansion, you're going to be playing sub blood. Sub blood's real like benefit is that it's giving you a lot of base stats. You're getting 5% flat crit. You're getting a shit ton of extra AP and the ability to use armor pots to just give you AP for 2 minutes, which is very, very strong early on when base stats are just better. It does kind of fall off. I mean, the classic like private server, it falls off in TOGC doesn't really mean anything because they don't have like a good metric for when it falls off. Our best kind of idea of when it starts falling off compared to the other subspec is when you get weapons that are of that eye level in TOGC, when your weapon damage gets to use death runes for fun, etc. Yeah, so like Bach is in the chat right now. But like sub blood kind of falls off when your weapons are good, because sub unholy benefits specifically from how good your weapons are.
Yeah, blood caked into necrosis. Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, it is. I you know, it's funny because bladed armor wasn't working on the beta for forever, and so I was running like a mini Frost blood unholy spec, and losing epidemic. Damn.
It's weird for your rotation. It's a little weird.
It feels weird at first for sure. You for sure feel it.
Sub-blood feels bad to play. It's better right now because base stats are good, but it just, you don't get the extra fun obliterates in. And which, so like just to clarify what that means, as sub-unholy, you get points into increased disease duration, which allows you to get a cheeky obliterate in that you would otherwise have to spend runes on to refresh your diseases. Sub Unholy just feels better to play. Sub Blood is a necessary evil for now.
Yeah,
14% obliterate chance at the start. It's pretty nice.
Yeah,
and for anyone that doesn't know the spec, you refresh your diseases with pestilence using Glyph of Disease. So that means you have to use one of those blood runes on pestilence to make sure you'd never drop your diseases, because that's like key to all Death Knights. Like every time, just make sure your diseases are up if you're doing any damage.
White Wolf says, don't forget that blood sub is way better on cleave and on target switching.
Yeah, it is. It is better. Like that's the thing though, is that like I don't know.
It's a great point.
It's the amount of actual cleave and target swapping there is in Wrath it's not a lot.
Trash.
I guess trash, yeah,
Yeah.
but
Did it affect your Howling Blast?
it does. You definitely feel the difference in AoE
So-
specifically on trash, just because that 5% crit does feel very good.
So I was definitely messing around a decent amount with this type of thing, where I was like, Nax is like falling over very quickly, right? And I was messing around with like a Frost tank build because I think Frost off tank is actually pretty strong. And I was sitting there going like, Ravenous Dead gives me 3% of my total strength, and I already said I just hate pet classes. I hate pets in general, man. The Ghoul getting like 60% more of my strength and stamina, that's cool and all, but I'm just not an effective player with that. I swapped those 3 points into Morbidity and felt like I got way more damage out of casting, running into packs, and throwing down Death and Decay, Howling Blast, and then a single Blood Boil, and then running into the next pack, and 15 seconds later I can do it again, right? I felt like Morbidity and Death and Decay was doing a lot of my damage in a full clear, plus Howling Blast into like just running and just mowing down trash.
Yep.
How bad is it to actually take points out of Ravenous Dead and do that?
On overall, it seems, in my opinion, would be like that's so much AoE like threat that like you're missing, right? If you didn't have that
Yeah, but
and
even as like a
decay,
DPSer,
all
I'm just like, I'm not sure.
that. Oh,
Yeah, I don't know. Morbidity is very odd as a talent for Frost, because it's not really what you want to be pressing. It's hard to like Death and Decay is hard to press in a pack. Most of the time, you don't want a pack to live long enough for you to have time to Death and Decay. You want to spread diseases. You want a Howling Blast. You want the pack to be dead. It's kind of counterintuitive, and at the point I think where you are speccing into Morbidity as a Frost Death Knight DPS, you should just be playing Unholy on packs. Like if you are getting to the point where you are getting like your dots up, you are getting a Howling Blast out, and then you also get to Death and Decay, just go Unholy for trash, because your dots are going to be ticking. You'll have Death and Decay down. You'll do more AoE that way.
those long, heavy trash pulls, Unholy just kind of shine.
Yeah, 'cause
so
when you
well.
actually get time to spread your diseases, then it does more damage if those packs live long enough, right?
Oh yeah,
But,
Yeah,
Death and Decay, like at least having access to it, because you're not going to Howling Blast twice in a lot of the packs that are up right now, like 8-second cooldown.
Unless you get a
but
proc.
that's the thing though, is
That's a
that
problem, right?
the cooldown of your runes is the same as the cooldown of Howling Blast. So you're going to spread diseases, you're going to Howling Blast, and you're going to have 7 seconds until those runes are back up to be able to even D&D or Howling Blast. So like you don't want things to be alive.
Yeah. Just wondering if it's more damage to D&D than it is to spend GCDs on
On
diseases into spread, because that's 3, right? That's like at least 4.5 seconds.
That's something
I'm
we'd
not
have
sure.
to like really actually look at the Sims numbers for. It doesn't feel good at all though. You get so much damage from having diseases on targets.
yeah.
You do at the very least get some benefit from other like Death Knights having their diseases on, but not the full. I think I don't actually remember how much of a percentage increase it is.
Yeah. I feel like as Frost, you would just be doing that for tanking. Like as Frost, you feel like you're just having to get up a D&D would be a crazy pack.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just throw the Howling Blast out and the disease spread, right?
Yeah, so it's 15% increased damage from having your diseases up, plus the diseases ticking. I feel is just
That's the Ebon Plague or whatever?
so no, it's Tundra Stalker for Frost.
Oh, okay.
So that's what you're giving up by skipping diseases and just going Howling Blast into Death and Decay. You're losing 15% damage done from your actual Howling Blast, as well as the actual damage from diseases ticking.
Did Crix's daughter actually just?
Where is
did
this?
your
Hilarious. She's 13. She can handle a fucking trampoline fall, but yeah, it's hilarious.
Tundra Stalker.
at the very bottom,
Yeah, at the bottom. Yeah.
So you'll
Gotcha.
get Glacier Rot, which is 20%. It's near the middle from other Death Knights, but Tundra Stalker is specific to your Frost Fever.
Gotcha.
There we go.
Gotcha. So you think it would be better to just like Icy Touch? Would it be better to even just Icy Touch, Pestilence that, and then Howling Blast?
Depends on how long the pack
How
is
long the
going
pack
to
is
live.
up, yeah.
Yeah, like if you think there's a chance some of the packs may die, Glyph of Howling Blast doesn't work. Don't at me, Bach. That's not how it works. The Howling Blast that applies the Frost Fever doesn't get the damage from Tundra Stalker.
There we go. Glyph of Howling Blast applies Frost Fever to everything hit by Howling Blast.
It's a bad glyph. Do not use it.
You heard it here. Use it. Bach said use it. He's making the official weak auras. D&D Howling Blast Blood Boil.
I hate
There you
this.
go.
Is it worth to use the free Howling Blast if you don't have the guaranteed crit? Yes.
Yeah.
If you're gonna start obviously if you have like you're cool, if you don't think stuff is gonna die, if you don't have the runes to obliterate right now, if you don't have a rhyme proc, you can hold that until it's the last second possible, so you can try and fish it out with another oblet. But unless you were in an AoE, yeah, you Bach in single target, you don't want to use it on Howling Blast. But unless like you have all of those needs met, you're just going to hit the rhyme proc immediately in AoE, because chances are stuff's just gonna die. Like trash dies so quickly. You just have to maximize. You don't care about the critting. You just care about getting that damage out.
Do you know what the percentage of a kill machine is?
Yeah. So Killing Machine's got a 1 ppm per talent point in it.
Oh.
So 5 ppm.
Yep.
That's juice. Killing Machine does feel like it's up. What feels like it's not proccing a lot is Rhyme.
Well, I mean,
It's
Rhyme is
15%.
15%. Yeah,
It's
like
pretty low.
It definitely, you're gonna notice it. You're only getting how many oblits off in 10 seconds? 2 at the most. So
Yeah.
chances are you're not gonna you're on average it's gonna take 2 to 3 rounds before you can like guarantee you see a rhyme proc.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like every 7 obliterates, you'll get the proc, right? So
Yeah,
not
I mean
bad.
like
Yeah, on average.
So how about his death chill?
I think it's kind of good actually.
Okay.
With cooldowns resetting on bosses, I think it's kind of
Oh,
great
I-
actually.
I love it, dude. Yeah.
Like if
Would
you're
you take a point out of a Killing Machine for it, or would you take it out of like something like Black Ice?
definitely not Black Ice. If you're worried about overall, you just take a point out of Killing Machine for it.
Mhm.
That's specifically for Death Knights that are looking for overall damage, though. I don't think
Mm.
it's good for bosses. I mean, we know it's not good for bosses. It doesn't sim well for bosses. But like, anytime you're just going to be, you're caring about like speedruns or overall damage, I kind of think Death Chill is kind of amazing.
It feels really good in the spider wing or like on a big pull to
Oh, yeah.
know you have a free crit Howling Blast and not have to worry.
It feels very good, especially on like any sort of cleave on bosses too is very noticeable. So, like,
Here come the makes, no spiders. No.
yeah, like I think especially now with the changes where it's getting reset on boss kills, this makes this talent very, very strong for speedruns specifically.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite. And then I guess we should mention the Unholy build, which we're swapping to later around Trial of the Crusader.
Around I as much as Bach will probably kill me later for saying that exact phrase, about when your weapons are getting towards the end of the expansion is when we see Unholy simming better, or Unholy subspec simming better. And that's mostly because Bloodcaked Blade and Necrosis, which are the 2 draws, besides getting a free obliterate per round, just because they care about the actual damage your weapon does specifically. And the better your weapons are, the more like the damage share your auto attacks will be, and the more damage share these 2 abilities will do. So they just scale pretty linearly with your actual weapons. They just get better as your weapons get better.
Yeah.
And to be honest, as you get more stats from gear and gear gets better, the actual like 5% base crit from blood just ends up looking worse as well.
And White Wolf mentioned this in the chat, but like this is more focused single target. Does it feel weaker overall and on AoE situations, having these like a lot of these talents, 10 or 8 talent points going into like your melee damage?
Yeah, you definitely notice the loss of attack power from bladed armor, especially when you get to use those pots and trash, because you use armor pots and it gives you, I think it's like 114 attack power for 2 minutes. It does also feel worse for target swapping. That being said, the extra strength is just so nice that even now, I personally prefer playing sub Unholy for AoE. Like, it's a lot of strength. We're a class that loves strength. Our
The
cooldowns
3%?
get better with strength. Yeah, it's an extra 3%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I don't know. Every time I've not played Epidemic, I hate it. It's like it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely Epidemic is
feel
like
it.
it's very. I love Epidemic, but I don't know. I even with the like caveat that you will probably have a harder time swapping, like off targets. I still think Unholy just feels better to play at every point. You're getting a free obliterate per round because of that increased duration on diseases. Not having to use that rune to pestilence as often means you just get an extra obliterate, and that feels fucking amazing.
Yeah. What is the damage differential? Like, how significant is it?
Right now, it's pretty small. I think it's. I actually. They've been simming some more because we saw some changes to the sim. And I'm kind of out of the loop, but it was last I checked, it was only like 300 or 400 DPS between sub Unholy and sub Frost. That may have been that was a while ago though. So, yeah, and that's another thing is the sim isn't done yet for Frost because the rotation is so specific with the choices you need to make in like your gameplay on optimizing when you're using runes and when you are getting extra oblit in. It's not finished yet.
Okay, that's good to know.
So what is Howling Blast based on? Is that damage scale at all?
So it's all of our spells scale off of our attack power.
So it also has an AP ratio on it. Okay.
Yeah. So like nothing we have scales off spell power. It's attack power scaled into spell damage. So spell power does literally nothing for Death Knight. Doesn't affect anything.
Mm-hmm. Which is why strength is just so good.
Yeah.
Yep, because we're getting 2.7 attack power per strength, essentially, with buffs.
Yeah. That's just crazy.
The normal ratio is 2 strength or 2 attack power per strength on a melee class. And it goes up to 2.3, I think, with Kings.
Is it 2.7? It's because of Ravenous Dead, or no? Sorry, that's just
Ravenous. It's Ravenous Dead and Endless Winter. So you're
Yeah.
getting more strength per strength point, which gives you more attack power.
Yeah.
Okay, so just how am I supposed to be using Unbreakable Armor on cooldown?
I mean, yeah, you're gonna use it on cooldown. It's a 1 minute cooldown. You're gonna have it up for every pack of trash. You're gonna have it up for every boss. You're just spamming that button.
Okay. It's a little awkward sometimes to try and fit in because your frost runes are so heavily contested by things like Howling Blast and Obliterate, right? So and also Icy Touch and spreading it just feels a little strange sometimes to try and work it in. So I'm not sure how you what would be like an opening rotation. When are you popping this?
As Unholy, you're going to be using BT in your opener, Blood Tap in your opener to use your Unbreakable Armor in the opener.
Yeah.
So am I casting my dots before I cast that?
Yes.
Okay. So it's like Icy Touch as you're running into Plague Strike, into using this into Obliterate?
Yeah. So, what is it? It's typically Icy Touch, Plague Strike, UA, or Blood Tap UA, Pestilence, into like a Frost Strike Oblit or Blood
Strike.
Oblit into Strike or Blood Strike. What? Obliterate into Frost Strike.
Gotcha. So how often do I want to be using Blood Strike to just generate death runes in the future?
Every time you have that blood rune up, you always want to make sure you're syncing your blood runes together. So you want to be turning them into death runes so that you can use them on obliterates if you're playing sub Unholy, or your UA.
This was not a problem on the PTR up until recently with the death runes.
Yeah, because death runes were consumed for just one at a time, which was...
Gotcha. So every time I Pestilence, I should be following it with a Blood Strike within the next 2 GCDs at least?
Yeah, you want to sync them together to just always be on cooldown together, because you want them synced into death runes together so that you have that chance of using that obliterate on them.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do you... that's a good question. How often on trash do you find yourself, like, you want to keep up Unbreakable Armor, but how easy have you found it on trash when moving quickly?
It's pretty easy because you're going to be using Pestilence anyway, like on trash packs to get stuff up. So anytime you blood tap, you'll have it, and also just keeping your 2 blood runes as death runes constantly, just from doing trash, means it's pretty easy to use UA while you're doing trash.
I actually have a rando question. How much of a DPS gain? Because as a tank player, I like to play around different classes. Like when I was talking with Oro about enhancement shaman. He's like, whenever I drop fire ellie totem, I got to keep it the boss or whatever I'm tanking by his fire ellie totem because that's where the pulse comes out, right? How beneficial is it for you as like a frost DK for me to keep a big mob still up at the end of the pack and drag into the next one with your diseases so you can just insta pestilence that onto everything that is in the new pack?
You definitely want to keep a mob alive when dragging. Like if you remember from our raids, Zirene, a lot of those times when we're doing trash, I'm out in front of you guys pulling mobs, like one mob with me, death gripping it away from you so I can pestilence the next pack. It helps a lot to have a mob to pestilence off of between packs.
Gotcha. So you think raids will start trying to plan around that a little bit, like keep like the big spider up or whatever, so that you get something that has to have a decent amount of HP too, because if everybody's putting diseases on it, it's going to rot down a little bit.
Oh yeah, I think it's definitely going to end up being the meta for speedrunning. You kind of get into this like sticky situation of pot CDs though. You're going to have to weigh like how often can you do that in a pot CD duration before you have to drop combat so that pot CD starts,
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then,
but if I'm a frost DK using an armor pot,
yeah,
you're like, I've got this up for the whole time.
Yep. It does not matter nearly as much for you.
You're like, this is juiced.
Yeah, no, I'm interested in that because every time I was playing frost DK, I was like, damn, I really wish we kept that mob alive as we were dragging it.
Oh yeah, like
pestilence range it's actually
crazy.
kind of nice sometimes, but sometimes it feels like it's really big, and sometimes it feels like it's really small.
So if it is affected by leeway, and it's also based off. I think we figured this out.
It's based off you.
It's not based off you or the mob. It's based off like some midpoint or like just next to you, from like where the hitbox is for it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, if Instructor Resuvius is right here, and the mobs are being tanked over here, and I'm over here on this side of Vesuvius, if I pestilence off him, it has a higher likelihood to jump here. But if I'm on the opposite side of Vesuvius, it might not do it.
It might not do it. And also, if you're moving, is going to affect it too, because all of our AoE is affected by leeway, including Death and Decay. And Wandering
Blast?
Plague. Howling Blast is as well.
Yeah.
Death and Decay is. Wandering Plague procs are affected by leeway, which
That's fun.
means Death or Unholy Death Knight just gets to just bunny hop constantly.
jump
Always.
Yep.
Yeah. That's something that I put in the Discord earlier, but something that like utilizing a lot of jumping.
It's a DPS gain now.
For Death Knights is an actual
I thought
DPS
they were
gain.
just jumping because like we jump when we press button. You're serious?
I mean, I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
anyway.
Serious, yeah.
What the-
Yeah.
I jump because it's fun, but
It's finally rewarding all of those, like all of us who PvP that have that syndrome for melee players where they just QE on everything. Like we're an undead rogue in 2006.
yeah. People are asking a question about Death and Decay. It's affected by leeway, but only on the cast, right? When you first cast it, not if it's on the ground and you start jumping, it'll get more range. It's when you jump and cast it in the air, right?
I don't know that we've actually tested if the ticks afterwards are affected by leeway. Oh yeah, so yeah. So
Yeah, on the bug.
the initial cast, so it snapshots the actual size of it. So once you've
wow.
actually set it down, it's affected by the leeway by the actual like zone. When you don't have to move after it's down.
Yeah.
2+
you have to be
yards for
moving.
the whole for the whole duration. That's
So-
massive.
They're saying it's affected by, like, he's saying it's affected by leeway for like moving purposes, but doesn't jumping help as well?
Yes, so leeway will affect by jump and move. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, but combining both doesn't do anything.
I don't believe so. It shouldn't. I believe just jumping will give you the same amount of leeway as moving or strafing.
Okay.
Yeah, like so it's the same tech that prop paladins use right now for dropping consecration.
Yeah.
Every time I consecrate, I'm jumping. Yeah.
Also, if you're ever battle shouting or commanding shouting as a warrior, has more range if you're jumping.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, the good old mage tech. Back when they were doing AE and just jumping the whole time. Now we get to finally utilize that. Okay, so that's something I really wanted people to know about, and Rune Grace period. But moving on to Unholy, Morb spec or both specs.
Yeah, I don't see a Morb in here. What
Well,
is this?
Oh no, there's a Morb in here.
Oh, this is Scourge Strike that's on the
This
screen
is
right
Scourge
now.
Strike.
Yeah, so
I see that.
Is this
There,
the
I
first
moved-
one when you're scrolling on this? And
It is on WoWHead, the
Strike
first
is
thing.
The first one. Yep.
It's also dual
yourself.
wield though.
Scourge Strike is bad. It's bad. It's worse if you're using a two-hander even, but it's bad. It's a button that cares a lot about your weapon damage, and we don't really care about our weapon damage, and it's not that great of a button that cares about your weapon damage. It was nerfed pretty heavily in original Wrath, coming up to 3.3.5, because it used to just hit like a truck in PvP. People would just get one-shotted by Scourge Strikes because it had such a high scaling off your weapon damage.
Didn't it also remove HOTS or some shit?
Plague Strike
Plague Strike did. Okay.
Didn't remove HOTS completely, because like there were HOTS upon removal that still did stuff. Plague Strike just made them not exist, so they wouldn't, like, Life Bloom wouldn't even proc as if it had been dispelled.
Wow.
It just doesn't exist anymore.
Oh my god.
Wasn't affected by like any dispel protection and talent trees, nothing. Just instantly gone the second you hit Plague Strike. It was a terrible time.
For anyone that wasn't the DK.
I mean, yeah, but that's kind of the story of Wrath up until Wrathful Gladiator.
Yeah. So, all right, moving straight down to the second spec, since we don't want the Scourge Strike spec. And we mentioned earlier when to pick that up, Scourge Strike, for the sigils.
Yeah, probably around Ulduar, late Ulduar. The sigil probably makes it a little, like, worth using. On that point, you'll want a slower main hand. And it's also worth noting for all the two-hander copers, two-hand Scourge Strike is 400 DPS-ish, worse than just using one-handed dual-wield Scourge Strike. Two-hand is dead in the water. It's not even viable. It's completely dead until Shadowmourne.
I did not know that even two-handed Scourge Strike was so low.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Okay. So now I have a question off that.
Yeah.
You know, every class that can use Shadowmourne has to have the conversation of how important is Shadowmourne for you. What is the delta between your best setup and Shadowmourne? How big is that delta?
It's not huge.
So
definitely...
low Unholy DK Prio for Shadowmourne?
I honestly, like, we have to actually look at it because we don't know how it's going to be affected by, like, our stuff that increases shadow damage and how much that'll come into play, plus our strength scaling. But just going off of, like, it, chances are, like, 100% certain, I'll say this now, I can go on the record, warriors are better with this weapon, period.
What?
It's the fact of life.
That's my boy. That's my boy. That's my boy.
What do you think about Retribution Paladins?
I am not sold on Rep Paladins needing prio on it. The like large amount of, like, private server, like, knowledge that goes into why Rep Paladins are so great with that weapon was before they nerfed the proc on Shadowmourne, and we're definitely getting the nerfed Shadowmourne. So they abused its on proc effect that did a shit ton of damage in AoE. Yeah. Because they could stack it up so quickly. They'd cancel Aura the Strength and just spam the explosion on Shadowmourne by their just, like, multi-attacks, basically, from seals and from stuff like Tiny Abomination in a Jar. That doesn't happen anymore because Shadowmourne's, like, damage proc is massively nerfed in this patch. It is like 1/10 of what it used to do, and it just adds more strength to the actual proc now instead of the damage it does, which I think just, I don't know. I'll wait for Sims to be done and for us to have good data. I don't think Rep Paladins are going to be priority on that weapon over Unholy. I think it's probably going to go give every single warrior in your guild this weapon, then give it to your Unholies.
All right. I'm
recording right now.
1 hour and 23 minutes. Yeah. In Unholy, moving past Shadowmourne, in Unholy, what are some of the most important talents or, like, things to note for people to look at when looking at the talent trees and differences, I guess, from Frost?
For Unholy specifically, I mean, I guess the big ones are going to be stuff like Ghoul Frenzy is an entire extra button that you're not going to have as Frost. It's something that right now we're still not entirely certain on whether it's going to be part of the meta for this build. It fluctuates on how good it is in the sim based on kind of the wonky pet mechanics right now. Beta is giving us we don't have pet hit tables 100% like mapped out on beta. We can't really tell how good Ghoul Frenzy is going to be. Common sense kind of shows us that it'll probably be pretty good, but it is like the major thing you have to like take care of, I guess, as Unholy compared to playing Frost. It's an extra button. It does just more single target. You'll pretty much completely ignore it in AoE unless you have like a free Scourge Rune Unholy Rune.
Yeah.
For other talents, Unholy Blight is kind of a pad talent in there that is kind of hard to understand when you first look at it. Essentially, all it really reads as is your death coils do 10% extra damage. It functions like an ignite dot, where it's not like it doesn't get overwritten. It doesn't like worry about snapshotting the damage on it. It just, if you hit something with a death coil, 10% of that damage gets added to a dot. If you hit them with another death coil, it just adds that extra 10% on top of it. So it's not getting.
Oh, so you don't actually.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about like keeping it up. It's just
I
a
actually
little extra
misunderstood
damage.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's very, just looking at it, it doesn't seem very intuitive into what it actually does. But essentially, it's just 10% extra damage from all your death coils. You don't have to like think about it unless like a target's gonna die very quickly. Then maybe you'd want to death coil something that like an off target, so you don't lose that 10% damage.
Yeah. This I don't know if this was fixed on the beta, but recently it was doing like ticking for 1 damage for every time. It was
that
was
on
weird.
a target dummy?
Yeah.
Okay, so
It was
that's
acting
actually
weird.
that's a known, that's like just a because target dummies technically have 1 health. It's not. Yeah, so it can't, like, it's the same with Necrosis, shows us 1 damage on target dummies because it's seeing the like no extra damage 2 deal. It's thinking it's overkilling the mob from that 1 damage.
All right.
So
That's
it'll function normally. Otherwise, it's just because target dummies having 1 health.
That's good to know.
Desolation is a talent in there. That's another main tenet of Unholy. It's just an extra 5% increased damage from all of your abilities for 20 seconds. That's what you're going to be using your blood runes on.
A good buff.
Yeah, it's very strong. Like, it's also something a lot of people don't realize specifically is that you don't need to worry about getting this up before you death and decay. Your death and decay is affected like it doesn't snapshot that 5%. It'll update with the actual buff. So
there's a few things that death and decay updates with.
Yeah. Death and decay is dynamic for almost everything. Thankfully, because it is a ground effect, and so you can kind of get away with just dropping your death and decay immediately and not worrying about it.
What are the things? Is it attack power? I know Cinder Glacier you can.
Yeah. So Cinder Glacier doesn't, if I remember correctly, it doesn't snapshot it. If it's up for that duration, all the damage. I'm gonna get fact checked right now because I can't remember off the top of my head. Bach. But the Cinder Glacier doesn't eat or isn't eaten by what's it called? Death and Decay, but it is.
It snapshots.
Okay. So it does snapshot.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can Death and Decay. It doesn't eat the Cinder Glacier. That being said, Cinder Glacier is very bad, and you shouldn't use it. So, I mean, it sims very, 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 very marginally better by a tiny amount with near perfect usage. I don't see a use case for it except for like extreme cheese trying to parse. Outside, like it, I think Black Magic is just better. Like, or just double Fallen Crusader even. I don't see people using Cinder Glacier. It doesn't play very well at all.
Do you ever see a world where you're running Black Magic in your offhand and then it procs for your snapshot and you switch?
I think there's very, like, because right now, I don't think right now, like weapon procs or enchant procs are properly going on the ICD when you swap, but they should. I think there's very definitely a chance that may happen. Fallen Crusader, like, because having a 90% uptime on Fallen Crusader is very strong. So getting a Black Magic on your snapshot, and then if you've got a weapon that's the same as that same offhand, swapping to it for that extra Fallen Crusader uptime is very good. Like the internal cooldown on Fallen Crusader is pretty short, so it's just a very strong buff to have otherwise, and you've already gotten the major benefit from Black Magic, which is that snapshot.
Yeah.
That one's gonna kind of come down to like a very granular level of like mathing it out, which we kind of have to like build into the sim. Right now, the sim isn't super happy about watching for buffs when snapshotting. We have to add stuff manually and haste buffs manually that we want it to watch for to snapshot. So as we expand what the sim is looking for and what the sim can do on like weapon swapping, we'll know a little bit more on how much better it could be. But yeah, like so as of right now, you can swap off and it doesn't trigger the ICD as Bach is saying, but we think it should be fixed.
Okay.
So,
this is as far as we know, Bach. Okay, thank you, Bach. And then for Unholy, a couple things that are unique that they bring. You want to touch on those, like things like Ebon Plaguebringer?
yeah, so there are other classes that bring through like increased spell damage. Boomkins bring it. Warlocks bring it through COE. We're the only class in the game that has AoE magic damage taken. It's 13% through Ebon Plaguebringer. Which is, it's incredibly strong for every single trash back. Having all of your warlocks who are in demon form and spamming seed and MO aura do 13% extra damage immediately is pretty much the strongest buff you can have on trash. Like, it is a ridiculous amount of increased damage you're getting from that, and it's literally from the press of 2 buttons. It's kind of hard to understate how great that talent is, especially not just for trash but for cleave fights as well. The only other way to get that magic damage taken is from either like a Boomkin hard casting Starfire on a target, which is what, like a 2.5 second cast, or someone hitting COE instead of Seed, which is like I know Crix will back me up on how bad that feels. Like
What's COE?
Yeah, exactly. Like
I got rid of that ability.
I thought that went away with Curse of Recklessness, to be honest.
That button feels bad to press, and we should not be making warlocks press it, honestly.
Yeah.
We also bring the only class that brings increased like disease damage taken, which it's not that big of a deal, honestly. It's 30% disease damage, but like the only ones that care about it really are us.
Other DKs.
Yeah, other DKs kind of care about it, but it's Unholy Death Knights that care about that 30% damage. We're the ones getting the most from it.
Yeah.
Shadow Priests will be very happy, but like, who cares about Shadow Priests?
Are Shadow Priests both of their dots diseases, or is just like devouring plague?
Is it just devouring plague? And I don't know.
Only be on one target anyway.
Yeah, just devouring plague, right?
Okay.
So, like it's we bring it in single target too, which is good for them. But like it's also like, I don't know, it's a very small outside of specifically our own damage, that portion anyway of Ebon Plaguebringer. The AoE 13% magic damage is ridiculously strong.
And then you mentioned in the Discord something wonky a bit on Wandering Plague.
Yeah, so as of right now, we think it's a point. Like it shows as a 0.5 second GCD. Oh, we have confirmed it since everyone gone. Okay, so yeah, it's a 500 millisecond ICD, so that's 0.5 seconds. Which means that if you unsync your diseases because your diseases tick every 3 seconds. So if you unsync your diseases, so like your frost fever is ticking or like on 1 second, and then your unholy or blood plague is ticking on 2 seconds, and like that, you can get double the amount of wandering plague procs, because it only cares about that 0.5 seconds. So if they're separately ticking, then you can get double the amount of wandering plague. But the thing is, when you press pestilence, it sets all the dots to sync.
Yeah.
So like you have to do wonky stuff like have a mob outside of range of your first pestilence, icy touch a mob, pestilence to the entire pack, grip the third mob in, then plague strike it and pestilence it, so the diseases are desynced. And it only
on that mob.
Well, no, all of them are desynced on all of them then, because that one mob only has your blood plague on it.
Oh yeah.
But like, I don't know, it's technically viable, and it may be very, very strong later when we're stacking crit and TOC, but until then it's kind of just like a lot of work, and you're probably just going to lose DPS by trying to do silly shit.
It out DPS's normal AoE rotation at some number of mobs, but we
Yeah.
don't know if that number is like 8 or 1,000.
That's the thing, right?
Okay,
Like,
thank you, Bach.
we can tell it's gonna do it eventually. We can't tell you when though, because trying to model that is a nightmare.
Yeah, that's good to know, though. That's good to know. And is Wandering Plague, the CDs it's proccing off just one target, right?
Yeah, so it'll proc off one target. So, God, if for a while we thought like it wasn't synced or it wasn't it had no GCD, that would have been you would literally never bring anything other than Unholy Death Knights if that were the case.
Yeah, just destroy everything.
Like you get 100% crit, every Unholy Death Knight procs Wandering Plague, every mob at the instance dies.
Yeah. All right, and then lastly, the big one for Unholy.
Gary.
Yeah, good old Gary.
My
Not even
love.
lastly, because we haven't got into the frost talents with everything, but yeah, Gary.
Gary is the reason this spec is so ridiculously strong. He's currently, he lasts for 30 seconds. It's more like, I think it's like 2.75 or something, because he takes a second to fly down and get into position, kind of, check his bag to make sure his carry-on's in place, and then starts casting. But he scales like 1-to-1 with our melee haste. So like right now, we're getting him down to like 60 casts that hit like trucks, and he is the full reason why we worry about stuff like black magic, why hyperspeed accelerators are so great for us compared to other classes even. Like he is the entire like building block of our playstyle, and the reason why we get so much better with the cooldown resets on bosses, because it means we get Bloodlust and Gary. So we're essentially getting double the DPS from Bloodlust that everyone else in the raid is. Because Gary does as much damage as another raider while he's up.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like
it's crazy.
It's 30 seconds of inviting your like buddy Gary to come into the raid with you and be the 26th raider in your raid. Like he does a lot of damage and he scales.
Can you PI the gargoyle?
You can't, unfortunately. He doesn't have mana, so he's not affected by PI. He's also not in your party because he's a guardian, so stuff like tricks of the trade don't work.
How good is like a manual crowd pummeler precast?
Not very good. Like the actual like conversion of manual crowd pummeler compared to just having black magic on your weapon plus Fallen Crusader proccing to snapshot on Gary, it's just not worth it.
Well, I just mean like if you can get 2 Garys, you can manual crowd pummeler with Lust on and Unholy Presence summon
the
Gary, swap your
resetting
stuff, right, and then reset.
Yeah, if we're talking like the big cheese, if you're resetting cooldowns, we'd have to actually test to see if Gary will be reset while Gary is summoned, right? Because like
what is it, undead? What is it?
Yeah, he's undead. He's undead. So like if it is the case though that your Gary is reset while Gary is still summoned, then like you'd bloodlust, pre-bloodlust, pre-haste pot, you'd MCP, you would drop D&D, you would pop your Garg or your Army of the Dead, pop Gary. The thing is you have to have a dig rat because Gary puts you in combat when you spawn him. So if you use it on the boss, you just fucked everyone's pre-pots or everyone's like pre-pulls. So you're going to be carrying around unconscious dig rats to summon him, and then also go through like your pull ritual as
Can you not summon him without a target?
Nope. He has to be targeted. So it has to be like an enemy target, and he immediately just goes for it.
Does Gary snapshot things like Thaddeus buff?
Percent buffs, no, but AP buffs, yes. So Thaddeus is a percent buff. He's not affected by it. So he's a little worse on Thaddeus, which is why you see Blood or Frost Death Knights
doing really well.
Yeah, ahead of Unholy on Thaddeus specifically, because they just scale well with that percent damage increase on themselves.
He said should do a DPS race between Warriors and Gary.
Right now, Gary wins handfully.
Oh my god.
That's so savage. Oh my god. Yeah, Gary is what about Gary like meleeing and things?
So he will melee if he's too close. The general tech that you can kind of just get in the habit of doing is like if you skip to like a poll on
yeah, I know you do it on this poll.
yeah, so
I was gonna call it
will
out, but
wait for the haste, and then I literally just flip my camera around so I'm facing away, and then spawn Gary. If you, because he gets summoned in front of you and to the left, so if you're facing the boss, he'll often just get spawned in its hitbox and melee a couple of times as he gets readjusted.
So I should move the boss onto your gargoyles.
If you move him on after he's already casting, I think we're fine. I think it's fixed, so he'll just keep casting. It's only when like he's being spawned is the real troubling period for young Gary.
Mm. Yeah.
the troubling period for young Gary.
Listen, he's a troubled youth.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Look at all those Army of the Dead's not
That's
attacking.
what I was thinking, dude.
Yeah.
So many of them look so cool.
You
I
should
wanna see
be
a
able to
25-man
now,
DK raid.
knowing how to control them, probably should be able to control them now. Should. Like by recalling pet and sending these armies.
Oh, I don't know that we tested if Army of the Dead was affected by pet control.
It is. I have it. Yep, I did it.
Okay.
Let me. I have a character in Blasted Lands that I could.
And that makes sense. I mean, like, they're just guardians exactly like Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe I deleted it.
Oh,
yeah,
he says something to pitch up his voice when he says,
So now we can control Gary and Army with pet, which is really nice.
Oh, apparently using add-on commands for totems allows you to do stuff on the non-unholy ghoul as well. Guardians are a spaghetti code.
Wait. What? Really?
Oh, that's a fun thing as well, is that speculatively right now, there is a chance on certain fight lengths that not being talented in a Master of Ghouls is better than being talented in a Master of Ghouls, because your summon ghoul is not snapshotted if it's permanent, but if it is permanent, it does get snapshotted on your haste and your attack power. You lose the strength benefit if it was a real pet, and it adapts like in real time to your haste. But we don't know the fight lengths. It could be like ridiculous and not worth it ever. But theoretically, there is a point in which Unholy does not spec into ghoul, just so that they can snapshot their ghoul for fights that are quick enough.
Wait, and why was that? Because it doesn't.
You
way
can
Guardians
snapshot
work.
your ghoul.
Yeah, exactly like you would Gary. So Guardians, untalented ghouls, snapshot your attack power and your haste at the time of casting, and then don't update. Ghouls as pets, when they're talented, don't snapshot at all. They just update dynamically. So there is theoretically maybe a moment in which you have so much haste and so much attack power off procs that you snapshot your ghoul, and the 30 seconds he's wailing is better than having him buffed the entire time and alive the entire time and with ghoul frenzy the entire time. The purely theoretical.
And you theoretically reset that cooldown as well. Hear me out here. Hello. All right, my dig rat's sitting over here. We summon everything, reset it all, and when you're summoning that early Army of the Dead, you're also summoning that with a Bloodlust. That's snapshotted. It never gets Bloodlust usually, right? You guys never have that pre-Bloodlust, but now you do.
And then you swap to the Unholy Spec that has Master of Ghouls and Ghoul Frenzy as the pre-pull ritual. So you have your snapshotted and the real one.
This is the degenerate behavior that Blizzard was talking about.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, God.
But it's gonna be like the degenerates are gonna be a thing. Like we know, like people are gonna go all out to get that parse. They always do.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh god.
My poor brain. Well, all right. So there's a lot of really fun things there with in the Unholy Tree, and then the key talents in the Frost Tree for Duel of Unholy.
Before we move on, I just have a question. So bear with me. How good is Corpse Explosion?
Single target.
Okay. Is there a world? Because I don't know. Tony was telling me about this, where he was like, DKs can't AOE tank, but what if you did this? And he was like, what you do is you summon your ghoul, 30-second cooldown, you run your ghoul in and Corpse Explosion it. every 30 seconds, and that's how you do the AoE pulls.
Jesus.
It hits a lot harder if you corpse explosion your ghoul versus
Yeah.
like anything else.
That's what he's saying.
does.
He's like
Yeah.
run it in, 3-second cooldown, blow it up.
The corpse explosion has some maybe uses for AoE. I think it's just bad. It's a fun button to press, but I think it's just bad. There's just other things you could be doing besides blowing your pet up that I don't think it's good. And using it on corpses and not your pet is just straight up bad. So like, I don't know, it like if you have one point to like mess around with, just stick it in improved unholy presence. Like this, like the builds I show on WoWHead literally aren't even the builds I use as a speedrunner, because like for boss parsers, unholy presence doesn't matter. But like as a speedrunner, improved unholy presence is more of a DPS gain than literally anything but Gary in this tree. Like I'm taking 4% less shadow and frost damage from what's called frozen ice.
Black
just to
ice,
take
yeah.
that, yeah, just to take the improved unholy presence. It's so strong for speedrunning. Like I cannot overstate how strong that ability is.
Well, movement speed is huge. Just in general, even without the rune cooldown.
Yep, it feels ridiculously bad to not use that talent.
Yeah. Movement speed is like the biggest DPS increase for everyone, right? Like uptime, literally, always.
Yep. Oh yeah.
All my classes are slow. I hate it.
Bro, I played a Ret Paladin in retail. I know about wheelchair class.
Hey, 2 more classic expansions and you get Burning Rush, right? There you go.
Yeah. And Reference had that like steed thing too. What you talking about?
Mob Classic when?
Yeah, Mob Classic.
Yeah. I experimented with corpse explosion also while leveling too and stuff, and like it feels nice, and like you could have it in a weird meme frost build while leveling, like, but by the time you get it, you're basically leveled.
Yeah, and like also like why are you leveling as frost?
Yeah,
just go unholy. Like unholy is so much better at everything when it comes to leveling than either spec. You don't die, you pull the world. Like, you are an invincible killing machine as unholy while leveling.
With your new brutal weapon, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. One thing, or how much damage do you know that we're getting out of, like, Nerves of Cold Steel? And then also, people will know that you're getting Ice Talons also as dual unholy.
So,
not improved, but yeah.
Nerves of Cold Steel is very, very good, just because it's 3% hit, but also it negates some of the offhand attacks. And since we are such a like heavily focused auto attack class, it's just that's the biggest draw to it, is like the hit, but also you're just getting more auto attack damage from your offhand, which is what we want. It's a purely single target like talent, because that hit doesn't affect your spells, so it's not affecting your AoE at all. But it is very strong for single target specifically, just based off of it's increasing your auto attack damage, it's increasing your necrosis damage, your blood cake blade damage, all from your offhand.
So everything gets buffed from that.
Yep.
So that's really nice for single target there.
There's also a world where, I mean, Warriors kind of did this. Is there a world where you taunt small mobs to have them on you for Rune Strike?
Not as probably not. Rune Strike is not great as unholy at all. It doesn't do a lot of damage. It does way less damage than just pressing Death Coil, to be honest.
Really?
Death Coil hits like a truck as unholy.
Okay. Yeah. All I know is like the whole it can't block, dodge, parry stuff, even for your offhand, right? Can't miss. Removes the dual wield penalty while it's queued.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's so situational, and I think maybe you see some like very granular, very odd points where maybe it's a DPS increase because of removing that what's it called, the offhand tax, and just because we're not getting the effect of what is it, is Sarthe, where offhand attacks for frost can't miss for specials. Like we don't get that effect, so it is helping some, but because we just have so much hit already and so much expertise and already it just doesn't matter as much for us, and it doesn't hit very hard compared to Death Coiling, which doesn't care about our like weapon speed or weapon damage, and is just getting passively buffed from everything in our kit.
And this also, like what Zirene mentioning, if you did use Rune Strike, it does work like a heroic strike queuing.
So as of right now, it does.
Currently,
we don't know if that's intentional or not. We'll get back to you on that one.
It's actually we're not talking about blood tank in here, but I actually think like dual wield blood is actually the superior blood spec.
I definitely I like it, not even just going off the increased like EHP you're getting from dual wield too. Like it's very strong. A lot of it is kind of negated by the fact that it's so easy to get expertise capped and hit capped even early in this expansion. Like it's just really not the problem that it was in TBC. You're pretty much, you are literally expertise capped and hit capped in full bis without trying for it in every single tier. Like I think there's maybe one tier where it's kind of like a stretch, but
you spell hit cap too.
You're not spell hit capped, but you can get very close to it.
Not worth going for.
It's kind of I mean, there may be a point in which it's worth it if you're worrying a lot about AoE damage, but it's kind of like it's still very strong for single.
That's only for bosses though, right?
Yeah, like as Unholy, it's still very strong because like your death and decay goes off spell hit. So does like your pet doesn't go off spell hit, but your pet eats your hit basically and turns into expertise and its own hit. So like going above melee hit cap is still very strong for Unholy at all points.
I had a question or something to ask about the manual ghoul gnawing.
Yeah, that one's
What
a
is
little.
this?
So, energy pets are a little bad. They don't actually use their energy ability like on cooldown. They'll just cap energy at times and just sit there and not do anything.
That's what he's doing right now in this.
Yeah, I've noticed he does it also still. Yeah.
Yeah, they are programmed to just use it on an interval, and they don't ever break from that. They're not actually looking at how much energy they have. So, like I'm not doing it here, but it's a very, very strong chance you're just gonna macro it into everything to spam it.
Yeah. So that's just something for everyone to know. Is your pet just sits there sometimes?
Yep, he just sits there full energy for 5 seconds at a time, not doing anything. Because...
That's why you corpse explosion hit.
No.
Show him what's up.
Oh my god! Imagine getting rid of your actual ghoul.
Oh my god! Please do not.
You're a real ghoul. You're just like, all right, he's gone. Get rid of him.
I object.
What can you?
Don't death pact him.
Yeah. Death Pact right now is the best ability on the beta. It just is basically commits seppuku or whatever it's called. You just it heals your pet and kills you instantly. Yep.
Wait, does it actually?
Yeah, I'm not even joking at all. Yeah,
here, it kills you to heal your pet. It's Blizzard is very good.
Is this something that's like exclusively to Unholy?
Yep.
Oh,
okay, because I was like, I've done this as a blood DK, and I'm
no.
anyone.
Yeah, no, it's up
right
Guardians too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
As of this week's build, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go and do it. It like just instantly kills you. So it's. I bet people are having a ton of fun in PvP this week.
I think they should keep it this way. It just all I've ever wanted in Classic is to have the suicide knife from Mists of Pandaria we used to use when you were like wiping on a boss. Everyone just uses it to instantly die. This was perfect.
Yeah, you can die anywhere now. Now you can die anywhere. You know when like you're like somewhere and you're like, I have to get through the gate, like Violet Hold. Let's say if it didn't take like 15 seconds to get a key, you know? You're just like, all right.
God.
And now I'm in.
We do get the best bugs. We're a great class.
That's true. Can you touch on really fast your thoughts, both of you guys actually, on Unholy versus Frost, maybe pros and cons of each?
I'll go first because he has real opinions about this, and I just have monkey brain opinions. I think Unholy is like, from what I've experienced, I feel like Unholy has a higher skill cap and a higher ceiling, so you can get more out of it if you play really well. But I think the baseline Frost player is going to have more success than a baseline Unholy player. It's kind of like if Fisher Price is my first DK, you go play Frost, and it's going to be easy, and it's going to be fun. You don't have to micromanage anything. And then Unholy is where you want to get a little more out of it. You'll probably have less DPS when you start off and swap, if you do swap. But eventually, once you master it, there's a higher mastery for it. So I think eventually Unholy will be able to milk more damage than Frost, and there's probably more gimmicky things you can do with Unholy to kind of eke out those advantages. But I think Frost is like, if you play it, it's going to be solid, and it doesn't take a whole lot to learn. So that's kind of my opinion on the two.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's mostly right. I think Frost has definitely got like, there's much less reward for the intricacies that there are in Frost. Stuff like triple oblitting, stuff like what's it called? Abusing Rune Grace.
Rune Grace, yeah.
You gain much less from that. There's a much like higher skill floor on Frost, whereas Unholy's general rotation requires literally no thought. You are pressing buttons as they come up. It's extreme whack-a-mole. But all of its complexity is entirely front-loaded to the first 5 seconds of every fight, and that right there is what makes it such a higher skill ceiling. I think, like it requires, you're getting way more from the amount of like work you put in from it. You see the difference between Unholy players so starkly based on how they handle their opener. Yeah, like it's so apparent seeing an Unholy player that knows what they are doing in their opener. Whereas, like with Frost Death Knights, it's very hard to tell the differences between a great Frost Death Knight and like a mediocre Frost Death Knight, because they're gaining so little from all the very intricate things they have to do.
Yeah, like mastering Frost at the highest level is a lot, especially because of Rune Grace and like perfecting. But Unholy, you see, like especially when like people first got like weak ores were first set up on the beta. Like the difference between someone who had like taken the time to set up things to track like anything in Unholy, or to know things about like your opener, or to play your opener, like it's like night and day, the difference in an opener.
Yeah, like it's very, very apparent, like especially because it's all front loaded to that opener. You see it immediately when someone's not playing well.
Yeah. And then Gary is just like one Gary does like so much, like 3 times, 10 times the damage. Yeah. But how do you feel about like on overall, how do you feel about the classes on overall, or
I think Frost just got Frost was pretty neck and neck with Unholy on overall when target caps were bugged. I haven't played since target caps got fixed because of the whole like wedding thing, but I don't think Frost is going to compete very well, especially in this like the play style that we're used to, where we're chain pulling everything constantly. I've always got something to like Pestilence too. We're always trying to pull more and not just like blowing up 5 mobs immediately and then moving on to the next. We're trying to chain those. It kind of depends on what playstyle your guild is in. I think if you're a guild that just takes 1 pack at a time, Frost is going to look much better. Stuff dies quickly. You get a giant chunk of burst AoE on like a low amount of targets. That's great. I think the second you start pulling hard and fast, multiple packs as fast as you can, just dragging, Unholy looks better and better and better, especially over even over Warlocks, because they're going to get hit by the target cap. Like Shadow Priester getting hit hard by the target cap. Frost Knights are getting hit very hard by the target cap. It's essentially just doubling their damage right now, which I guess it's been fixed now. I haven't been playing since, so.
Yeah. Target cap's now down to 10.
Yeah, so like
finally.
Unholy is essentially the only DPS remaining that is like on target capped. Enhancement Shamans got hit by target cap. Like our dots don't care about target cap. D&D doesn't have a target cap.
Anything on the floor, yeah.
So like the only thing that has a target cap is Wandering Plague, and that's just icing on the cake. Like D&D and dots were already way more than it.
Yeah, I mean that still applies to Frost as well, right?
Yeah. But
Rogue
with movement,
really
how does it feel with Death and Decay? Then
Death and Decay, it lasts a good 15 seconds, right? Like that sounds like a long time. I very rarely felt like I had bad Death and Decays, even chain pulling. Like even with Zirene just full tilt ahead, chain pulling ahead of me.
Yeah.
Even with me chain pulling ahead of them, like as Unholy, I never felt like I had a bad moment with Death and Decay. I always felt I could get like 90-80% out of it, and that's already just so great that
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Like, especially because a lot of chain pulling is going to be like how we were playing it. It's me pulling instead of a hunter ahead of the pack, because I can AoE while I'm not with the group and just pull stuff to us, which feels very, very strong.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're
Interesting. Interestingly enough, how do you feel about the stackability then with this? And I'm kind of skipping forward, but like then having multiple unholies, do you feel like that's a solid, like viable? Because you're saying like having you forward as the hunter puller, essentially as like the puller, especially with improved unholy presence, moving quickly.
I think Unholy is gonna end up being the class to stack, especially early for speedruns. I feel like they just got so much strength from this like cooldown change that like their biggest drawback already was stuff dying too fast, which isn't going to be an issue because target caps got fixed, so those mega pulls won't die as quickly anymore. Warlocks aren't going to be, doing literally double DPS with Seed. Enhancement Shamans are going to be doing double DPS with Fire Nova. So and then on top of that, you're getting Gary and Lust for every boss. I feel like they benefited the most. Like I definitely think you're going to see a lot of Warlocks too, because Demo is so strong as a cooldown class as well, and an AoE. I feel like those two are the classes to watch for speedrun stacking, especially in this early phase here.
What about Enhancement Shaman? They get Fire Ellie and Wolves now for every boss.
Fire Ellie, not Fire Ellie.
Fire Ellie? Oh, no.
Yeah.
5-minute cooldown? They didn't? Damn, that sucks.
If they had gotten Fire Ellie for every boss, I would be singing an entire another tune here.
Yeah.
I would be telling them to stack 20 Enhancement Shamans. Nothing else is worth playing.
It'd be broken.
I think they're still very
What
strong.
about Earth Ellie? No.
Well, Earth Ellie is also
also, yeah, you don't get that either.
I think Enhance is very strong too. I think you'll probably run I think you could run a couple of Enhanced Shamans very easily. Like their mobility is very good. Their AoE is still very good. Like they're still a very strong class.
Yeah, it feels like Warlock, Rogue, DK are like the most stackable classes. Those three.
yeah.
And
These
then
changes
Enhancement
with
Shaman
Rogue-
is somewhere in there potentially.
These changes with Rogue now, Rogue also just feels amazing to play.
Got juiced up so nice, dude. It's like literally these changes like actually really buff some classes like crazy well. This is a question a little bit off topic, but like utilizing Gargoyle on trash, did you end up using it very often when moving quickly, or did you end up, because of how powerful it is with the snapshot when everything's rolling with lust and everything, saving it for bosses?
I only ever really use it on bosses just because the damage you're gaining from having it on a boss is always just going to be stronger than on a strong mob. Like nothing was really going to survive 30 seconds. Like getting a mob alive for a full 15 for Death and Decay is one thing. Having a mob stay alive for 30 seconds for a full gargoyle like duration is never going to happen, especially not in Axe.
Yeah,
I think gargoyle is pretty much reserved for bosses.
And the 3-minute like kind of feels like it's always going to be. Well, I mean now though you get it right after a boss dies. If there was like a long pull into the next boss, do you see a potential to use it on?
I honestly don't think there's going to be many, if any, like 3-minute gaps between the death of a boss and the next boss in Nax at all. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
Like what's the longest gap between bosses in all of Nax? It's like coming out of an end boss, right? Going into a new wing. The longest one would maybe be
DK?
Fairly near the Maxna. It's decent. If you're coming out of
fairly into Maxna doesn't feel very long, to be honest. Because your
chase isn't that long anymore. A noob, getting to a noob isn't long.
Yeah, like
so there's probably never
going into Death Knight Wing would be like, I think,
the only opportunity.
And I don't even think that's going to be 3 minutes with how quickly stuff.
You don't have to pull the whole stables either anymore.
Yeah,
that change is nice. That, and also I feel like now this like the change really like makes it so that you will try to do a big patchwork pull if we can pull off doing it in 25. I didn't try it at all, and I don't know if it's possible, but we were able to do it in 10 pretty easily.
Yeah.
The patchwork pull and just kill all of the trash, and it resets the boss. And like you just use everything on that pull, and then the boss literally resets. He just runs back. He doesn't like despawn, and you just go kill him.
Yeah, that'll definitely save a ton of time too. Like it just nothing feels like in Ulduar. Maybe we'll get some conversations about that, but I think Ulduar is even more like streamlined on trash. This is not an expansion of long, annoying hallways anymore, right? Like we're not in AQ, we're not in Black Temple. Everything is just like you got 6 packs ahead of you. You pull them all together, you kill them, you kill the boss.
Yeah. This is what I said. I've literally never speedrun Ulduar. I don't know how it's gonna happen. It's gonna be interesting.
Speedrunning Ulduar is going to be the peak of this entire expansion, let me tell you. Just the fights in Warcraft logs about whether it should be all hard modes or no hard modes.
Right. Moving on to it's got to be hard modes. Oh my god.
Yeah, of course.
imagine Ulduar's being like the Ulduar speedruns. It's no hard modes, and then like who claims world first? But then like, do they get like have to get like 1 light or like no 0 light or like what is like the? I actually killed Yogg-Saron first, so yeah, you know, like it's gonna be interesting. Yeah. But into gearing. We'll start with Frost Death Knight, and I've pulled up basically your gearing guides. Crix sent them through on WoWHead. So what are some of the easiest or best ways to start gearing as a DK at 70 or at 80?
Oh, he just sent the 80s for him too.
Yeah, those are the 80 upgrades versions.
Oh, you beautiful man.
We currently don't have the WoWHead armor previewer finished for Wrath of the Lich King. We're having some database issues. So they're working on it, but for right now, I had to do just like list views and
I noticed these are all the same race.
Brunei is the only viable alliance race. If I see a human, it's on sight unless you were a PvPer.
You guys heard it here. Everybody go human.
I was gonna say, you can talk about because a lot of people have asked about races. You can talk about them now if you want.
Oh yeah, it's a great time.
So as Unholy, you're playing Troll. That's it. Troll's miles ahead of Orc. Like in my guide, I talk about like, oh, we don't know if Troll and Orc is better yet. Troll is just better. Like with these changes, especially like specifically, Troll is just so much better. Having Berserking on your Gargoyle is ridiculous compared to just 5% extra damage done on Gargoyle. It's so much better. It's like last I checked, it was like a couple hundred DPS better than Orc.
Yeah, but they don't look good.
You gotta get used to the ankle, the heel
toes. Yeah,
the heel nail. You gotta get used to it. This is what the face. This is what peak Death Knight gameplay looks like.
Every person DK is gonna be Troll now.
I'd rather be Goat Mommy.
Orc DKs look dope. That's the thing.
If you're playing
like
Frost, go Orc. Orc is better for Frost.
By how much? Is it enough of a difference that if you're switching between, you should stay just Troll?
It's not really. If it's pretty marginal for Frost from last I checked. You're probably just gonna want to be a Troll, even if you're like a chance you might play Unholy.
I mean, you could just race change, right?
True. Yeah, in like 8 months in.
Yeah, when they release it. Yeah.
For human though, like. Humans barely eke out ahead of Zirene in like just factoring in yourself and not your group, and that's only in phase 1. You're not getting the axe or mace bonus for like the rest of the sword or the mace bonus for like the rest of the expansion. Like orcs at least have axes going for them, but expertise like racials just don't really matter in Wrath. There's so much expertise on gear, and the ratio is so much higher now that it's ridiculously easy to just get expertise capped and not worry about it. And so much of the best pieces that you want to wear, they're axes, and so that has some benefit, but like it doesn't matter nearly as much as that 1% hit on everyone in your party. Like
what about maces? What about little bearded mamas?
There's not a lot of good maces, man. Like all of the good stuff at the end is axes. So like you don't care about mace spec. You don't care about sword spec. It's the hit is just like consistent, and it's also
But
like,
you
for
could
your entire
you could
party.
stone form and get more AP if you're blood subspec, right?
Oh my god.
You have a point.
Well, this is really good.
Don't.
Guys, we figured it out. You have to, if you're Frost, you have to go
Oh my God.
dwarf until Trial of the Crusader at some point.
Oh my god.
He looks dope.
You may not be wrong, which is the worst part. But like,
Yeah.
it's probably yes, it is probably better than human.
Oh my god, Bach, we need to dude, find
You-
the
You
numbers.
don't take bladed armor very often, or whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
you're not going to be taking bladed armor for long, and at that
Yeah.
point, you're also not getting the benefit from mace specialization. So if they don't have race changes out by then, you're just getting no benefit from being a dwarf. You might as well be an edge master like gnome in circa 2020 again.
Oh my god, the gnome DK is running around.
Oh god. Draenei is just very strong. Like its heal is a pretty strong
gross.
defensive. It's 1% hit for the entire party. That's melee hit and spell hit, which is great for Unholy and Frost. Like I can't overstate enough how just go Draenei. Make your guild's life easier. Just go Draenei.
You guys heard it here first.
But if we have a lot of Draenei,
Go dwarf.
If you have a lot of Draenei, go Draenei so 10 mans aren't terrible.
Yeah, but I have a lot of Draenei in 10 mans, and I wanted sword and mace bonus early on.
Well, then you have sword and mace bonus early on, and if they don't come out with race changes, you're useless later on. That's the issue, right? And then, like, if you don't have a lot of Draenei, because everyone had that same thought process, then the, like, 3 dudes that were like, I'll just play a Draenei, I guess, get brought to raid over you.
Ooh.
Player versus class, okay? Player versus race.
I don't know. I don't care how good you are. If I'm getting 1% hit, if you're not in my raid, you're gone. That's hit rating, man. That's hit rating.
Deance knows how I feel about this, but Sarthe and Crix, do you know who I think is the best tank race for DK?
Oh my god, I don't know. Who do you think
Dwarf.
is... Are
Night
you
Elf.
going
Elf?
Night Elf.
for Shadow Meld or for the... Yeah?
It's
Night Elf.
yeah.
No. The racial gets changed from 1% dodge to 2% chance to be missed.
Yeah.
So
2%
Night Elf has
chance
2% chance to be missed.
More difficult to hit.
from
2%
from
chance
ranged
to
and
be
melee
missed.
attacks.
Unmitigated 2%.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Doesn't get affected by the DRs when you have a ton of like defense and stuff like that.
That is so dirty.
Mhm.
That's not even touching on how ridiculous Shadow Meld is on some fights too.
Because you
Like,
can hard swap tanks on a non-tauntable fight.
Yeah.
You can also completely avoid entire mechanics with it. Like frost bombs on Centragosa are shadow meldable.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and then Box said it right. Yeah, you can shadow meld and kill your second DPS whenever you
See,
want.
middle of the fight,
Oh,
they're
it's
like being
advantage?
sassy. They're being sassy to you. It's just like, I'll Shadow Meld real fast.
I can already feel Zirene killing me with this.
Oh yeah, don't
Right,
don't,
right
don't
when
make me
someone's
shadow
on your
meld.
ass and getting ready to pass you,
make
you
me
just
shadow
shadow
meld.
meld real quick, kill him.
Mhm,
They can't
mhm.
pass you.
I
That's
can do it
good,
again
like-
too really soon. So
The new, like, don't make me pull this car over. It's like, I'll fucking Shadow Meld right now. This guy is so annoying.
trade me 1k gold
Trade
or I'll
me
shadow
1K
meld.
Yeah.
gold or you'll die.
If I don't get tricks to the trade right now, I will shadow meld and kill this entire raid.
No, I ain't gonna play. I ain't gonna play. Just shadow meld out of there. But in all honesty, though, yeah, I know it's not a tank episode or anything like that, but
No, that's
we're talking about
huge.
races. It's a meme. Like Night Elves have been like a giant meme for the longest time, but I actually think they are the best blood tank.
Oh yeah.
Night Elf
Without a
was
doubt.
the best rogue in Classic, actually. They had a little
the
bit more agility.
agility increase.
Only in the last phase. Only in the last
Mhm.
phase
When
with
Gressel
Hungry
was
and
a
Cold.
thing. Mhm.
With Hungry and Cold.
Yep.
Hey, if you were a dagger rogue, boom, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Planned it out.
God, no. Get off Night Elf male. We ain't. That doesn't exist.
I would never
If
play
you
a
were-
Night
It's
Elf
It's only
male.
female. It's all body type 2. Body type 2.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Draenei male, that's okay.
Oh my god, your shoulders are so thick.
Look, dude, have you not seen my gameplay? Do you see how good I look?
It does kind of look cool. Like it does like a bunch of like 360s while meleeing.
Yeah, as long as you're not zoomed in too much, you look sick as hell, dude.
Yeah, I'll give you just that.
HFFA, hot from far away. Is that what we're talking about here?
Yep, that's me.
Yeah, it does look cool with all of the like 360s. That's it. That's it. Does Zirene female get this animation?
Yeah, they're basically the same. They do like the
Just
spin.
like a body 2 type spin, you know?
Yeah, just like a body 2 type spin.
The goat 2-handed animations. You mean they do like a little hop over and over again?
God.
The 2-handed animations are.
I hate that. It's all Zirene male for me.
This is what I actually, no joke, when I was playing Draenei off of like your recommendation and tanking, and I was using a 2-hander, I was like, this is just, I gotta try something else. And that's how I accidentally found Night Elf.
You're like, I hate this.
I hate these animations, man. There's gotta be something else.
Oh my god, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, back to
the gearing.
Back to gearing.
Yeah.
That was great though. That was like super like insightful. I did not realize the Night Elf thing. Zai. That's so strong.
I think it's gonna catch on. I think that and dual wield blood DK is gonna be a thing that was not a thing back then.
Yeah. But as for pre-raid bis, I want to touch on like maybe like how the two differ, Unholy and Frost, because they're not like ridiculously different, and like how easy or like fast ways.
It's like the only difference in like all of the gearing for both of them in Prebis is your main or your offhand weapon, and your trinket, and I've also got the wrong sigil on that.
You do have Wild Buck on Frost.
That's a mistake. Sorry about that.
Guys, confirmed. Wild Buck.
It's definitely not supposed to be Wild Buck. That is a mistake. But yeah, no, like so you're both of them use literally identical gear in Prebis. Outside of offhand for Unholy, you want Grass Cutter. Frost, you want the Reputation offhand from Ebon Blade. Yeah, it's the 2.7 speed.
It takes like a day, not even.
Yeah, it's very quick. And then Mirror of Truth is good for Frost, but as Unholy, your bis for the entire phase is I didn't edit that
You
either.
didn't edit, no.
That should be a Meteorite Whetstone. It's changed in the actual like phase 1 bis.
Oh, I can't change it on here. Yeah, Meteorite.
But here I can just edit it.
Morb 1.
Unholy Pre. It's changed in the actual like phase 1 bis.
Like the actual, yeah.
There we go. Share. But Meteorite Whetstone is a head and shoulders above any other trinket for Unholy.
It is so good. The haste proc.
It's DST.
It's DST, but better.
This is gonna be hard rezzed in Heroic Utgard Pinnacle runs.
Oh yeah, it's best in slot, even in raids. Like that thing is, you will replace that in World War. It is incredibly strong. Its proc rate is incredibly consistent on pull. It's very easy to get that and Black Magic up and rolling immediately for your Gargoyle, and it's a lot of haste.
Yeah. And then...
And this is just Unholy, not Frost?
Yeah, this is just Unholy. For Frost, you're going to want like
Mirror.
Regular
Greatness
trinkets.
Mirror.
Yeah, Mirror is very good.
So I noticed there's like, Dark Moon card greatness and all of these, and not everybody is able to get that. What is the other trinket that you would use in both of these sets for Prebis?
Would you then use Mirror as Frost or as Unholy?
As Unholy, you would use Mirror if you couldn't get Greatness. If you're Frost, you're going to use a Incisor Tooth if you can't get Greatness. That being said, you should do everything in your power as a DPS Death Knight. Use every gold you have. Break the piggy bank. Sell some plasma. Buy yourself a Dark Moon Greatness because that's your best in slot until TOGC 25, man. Like, you are not replacing that until you have Death's Verdict in your hands. That is it for you.
So I should just level as a Inscription, Herbalism, and just gamble cards all day?
Honestly, if that's what you have to do, that's more of a DPS increase than Jewel Crafting would be.
Yeah.
Like, getting that trinket is... It is by far the most important thing you can do as a Death Knight for yourself. You need your Dark Moon Greatness. It is the best trinket you're going to wear.
So, Everyone get ready to fucking swipe.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad. Everyone needs it.
How much do you think greatness is gonna be for week 1, week 2?
Week 1 probably 100k on benediction.
Oh my
Probably more.
god.
So like it's directly tied just to the price of herbs because it's
Yeah.
got such a consistent crafting, right? So
Yeah.
like I think by week 2 or 3 it's probably gonna be down to like 50k, 45k.
It's still like a pretty low chance to mill the card, right?
What's the ICD of that?
On greatness here, let me see.
Said 2 minutes or something, right? Oh no, that was meteor, right?
No.
No, greatness is a lot lower.
Dark Moon card,
It's only
greatness.
45?
It'll actually open for me.
30, 45, something like
Probably 45 seconds. How do people get that much gold? GDKPs
Yeah.
Yes.
usually,
that.
GDKPs.
Or they swipe.
or they swipe.
It's got a 45-second cooldown, proc chance of 35%.
Yeah. Insane.
So
actually
it's
insane.
always procced. What?
Yep.
Yeah, 45
So-
seconds.
So you'll have 30 seconds of cooldown. It's essentially got like a 33% uptime,
Mhm.
and it's a ton of strength. Like you have to take into account that you're getting like you're triple dipping on strength, right? So
Yeah.
it's so strong.
That shit's like 700 AP.
750. Yeah.
It's almost 900 AP.
Yeah.
Is it going to be realistic to farm one out?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
as long as you can farm the herbs. Like the big thing is going to be botting, right? Like
Yeah.
As long as you can farm herbs, I think it's only like 86 crafts will realistically get you the deck. So
Yeah, I think if you are going to try to gamble this deck, you need to do it at the beginning of the phase before they take away layers.
Yeah.
So you should
Yeah.
definitely, if you are planning to, like, if you're poor and stuff like that, inscription plus herbalism on one of your characters that can farm is probably the play.
You'll probably make so much money. Like people farming this is like the shot. Like if you're trying to just get set, you're like not trying to go hard in raids early on. All you're trying to do is like set yourself up for the expansion. Imagine being able to sell like 5 of these.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that shit will pay for literally dropping the professions and like
Oh yeah.
getting a different profession up like 100 times over.
Yep. And it's that trinket is so much better than any other trinket that it is more of a DPS increase. If you have to go inscription, it's more of a DPS increase to ensure you get that trinket than like maybe even having
4
engineering.
professions. I was like 4 whoa, oh shit.
Yeah. Like
Then
yeah,
engineering?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you have engineering here. Oh, I know you do.
I do 100%.
Yeah,
Like,
100%. Everybody does. No,
it-
no
less-
belt
Yeah.
enchant?
I is it confirmed you can have the belt enchant and the gem?
Buckle.
I wasn't able
Can
to
you?
test it. I wasn't sure because I wasn't able to test it, so I just kind of left out the belt enchant because it's like it's the grenade is fine, but it's worse
Yeah.
than your normal explosives. So
Mm.
How long does greatness last for?
it's 15 seconds.
No, I mean like in the game. When
Oh,
you
Trial of the
replace it-
Crusader, he
Oh,
said. 25
Yeah,
Phase
you'll
3 out of 4 and a
out
half.
of yeah.
yeah, you will replace it with Death's Verdict, your game bis trinket.
So it's like as important as DST was, but you gotta buy it. You can buy it.
Yep.
Literally.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Asked with
DOE,
the
DST.
TOGC changes, what other trinkets do you use if not greatness?
So Meteorite Shard from Ulduar is very, very strong. It's a very, very consistent haste proc. I believe it's a haste proc. I shouldn't say that without having it in front of me because
Shard.
or not Meteorite Shard. Fallen. What is it?
Me.
It's the Algalon 25 trinket. Can't remember its name.
Someone in chat's gonna remember. The Observer.
Comet's Trail.
Yeah. Comet's Trail, yeah. 726 haste, 10 seconds.
It's very strong.
Damn.
That's a lot of haste.
That's a
Yep.
grip. It's a lot of
240 attack power static.
It's also like it's a pretty consistent proc rate too. So like it's very good.
Mm-hmm.
That you'll use like this is what you'll use like that and your greatness. When you get the TOGC trinket, you'll probably use Comet's Trail and the TOGC trinket.
Mm-hmm. So
That's also like
so Comet's Trail
preliminary.
in itself is looking better than greatness as an exact like 1-to-1 for them.
For-
You'd swap out greatness when you upgrade.
for Unholy, that is what I have been seeing, but it's also like we really need to nail down some of these old trinkets.
That's fair.
Because we don't have a lot of the trinkets built in like ahead of time. So a lot of the stuff we have is used like any pre-simming we're doing right now is I'm using a like Kahori's sim from 2009 that we've like got up and running because the current sim doesn't have a lot of the like trinkets from older for later tiers built into it yet. We'll have better data as we continue building out like proc effects and uptime, and like Shadowmourne isn't built at all yet, stuff like that.
Yeah. You mentioned like obviously the sim working with like procs for snapshotting and stuff. That's got to be complex. Oh my god.
I'm glad that's not my job. Juper and Rain and like Logarithm and Pock are doing God's work. They have so much to deal with.
Yeah. Algalon 25. That'll be a fun one for people. On gearing, you have Pauldrons of the Berserking. How important is it for people to get this from Sunwell and they can use them all the way up?
It's not the end of the world. It's only like, I believe it was only like 15, 18 DPS better than the second BIS. So like it's not the end of the world, but they are like measurably better than the Sons of Hodier shoulders. It's just like you're just getting more strength and more secondary stats. It's kind of just the gist of it, right? Like those two sockets are so powerful. Because you can put new gems on them. They're very powerful.
Yeah, that really adds up.
Yep.
Is there anything else you would highly suggest on getting from Sunwell to help
trinkets,
with?
If you can, like before you get your Darkmoon card, trinkets are going to be very good from Sunwell. BNS is very strong. Weapons are very strong. Not a lot really carries over into Prebis besides those shoulders, because the rest of the shoulders for this like Prebis are very bad. But like the trinkets are still pretty strong for Prebis. BNS, the trinket out of MGT are not super far behind like heroic trinkets right now.
Shard of Contempt. Yeah,
Shard of Contempt. They're not super far behind like heroic trinkets. DST as well, as they're not super far behind level 80 blue trinkets.
I'll just pick up a quick DST, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. As you do. You don't have 8 DSTs?
As is tradition. Oh my god, my guild leader has like 21 glaives. So. And then there's a lot of gear that's just like BOE. So like it should be.
I was about to say, how many of those are on Laddie though? Like...
Oh yeah.
Right. 10 of them?
Yeah. I was like, geez.
Yeah,
you're saying, I'm sorry.
2, 3, 4 pieces that are just BOE.
Yeah, and the ring is also purchased.
And then you buy the ring.
Oh yeah, so there's definitely a lot of stuff that you can just buy, which is nice. It's gonna be probably a little more efficient to farm stuff like the cloak though. Just because it's like a zone drop from normal, so you can literally just go in there and farm it, and you're totally fine.
Yeah,
it's like
I've seen 3 of them drop so far just on the beta, chilling.
Yeah, they're a very high drop chance. They're going to be pretty cheap. The helm and the weapon are probably going to be like a marginal price compared to Darkmoon card greatness, and they're also marginal compared to Darkmoon card greatness. Like I don't even think the one-hander is even super comparable, because you can just like if you are playing Morb, you can go get the tank sword from Utgard Pinnacle, Red Sword of Courage, and that's not terrible.
Yeah.
If you're Frost, you just play double Reaper of Souls, and it's really not that bad compared to the Bone Crusher.
Especially like you're going in. This is like a weekend. Nax raids open. What happens when like something drops? You know, like what happens when you get like Angry Dead or like you get Last Laugh, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's like you just spent 30K gold on a fucking weapon.
And they're much smaller compared to that trinket, so they are definitely something you kind of prioritize less.
Let me share these all.
Ooh. So I was noticing on your Frost, you have Rune of Cinder Glacier in your main hand. When I looked at stuff from like back in the past, they were using Razor Ice.
That's also a mistake. That
yeah, Razor Ice main hand.
Okay.
Fallen
We're getting
Crusader
excited. I was
offhand.
like, what is this for?
No. that is just a side effect of me waking up at 6 in the morning to get these.
Yo,
Pour it
man,
over, 80
I'm
upgrades.
like, dude, is that better on trash? I get that thing to proc a Howling Blast the whole pack. Is that going to do more damage than just having? Maybe I get 3 weapons and swap off the main hand Razor Ice for bosses.
God, no. That's terrible.
Yeah.
That is just an effect of me waking up at the ass crack of dawn to be here.
Okay. No, don't worry. I was just curious.
Yeah,
There we go.
there's Razor Ice is just a no compete. It is so much stronger.
And then how are the specs? Like gearing is pretty similar actually again with Frostbiss and Morbbiss, other than like weapons, trinket, and like you don't need the 4-piece, but you still get picking up 4-piece.
Yeah, and some of the sims we're seeing right now for Frost show 4-piece is just not being worth it. You're kind of overcapping on runic power anyway, with like Resto Druids in the raid and with like actual usage of AMS. You really don't care that much about the extra runic power gain. So 4-piece is kind of like, it's only really there because they're strong strength pieces. Like the gloves are probably stronger than tier gloves, the ones that Unholy use. Zelix Crushers, I believe.
Yeah, because I've seen
Morb should
lists
have
without the gloves and legs. Here, let me go grab that from you.
Yeah, here, let me fix that because that's also got tier on it.
Where's my 2-handed Unholy Pre-Biss and Biss?
Well, you see,
Zirix gauntlets, yeah.
I mean, it was the first thing in your Unholy guide, right?
Unfortunately, the cat did in fact eat my
There we
homework.
go.
Oh no.
But yeah, Zelix gauntlets are very strong. Oh, did I use the Unholy Pre-Biss one on that one?
Yeah, you did. Staggering,
That's whatever.
grass cutter.
I am all over fucking the place here.
Don't
today.
worry,
Yeah,
man.
but everyone know Zalic gauntlets, really, really strong, and these are BOE.
Yes, they are.
Get them in one raid, give them to the other. Yeah.
Yeah,
And like you're very likely even as Frost not going to be using your 4-piece and just be wearing those gloves and the helm because that seems to be looking better too.
the Obsidian Great Helm.
Yeah, Obsidian Great Helm and then Zelix Gauntlets would be your 2 off pieces as Frost.
And then you just got shoulders, chest, and legs. And then other pieces for gearing between the two. Let me.
Here's the fixed Morb phase 1 to actually match the WoWHead article.
There we go. But you have staggering leg plates. Is staggering leg plates over tier legs? That's what I was curious about. And I've seen it, and simming, it was simming slightly higher also.
Yeah, it's kind of situational.
Current
I've seen it kind of flicker both ways, staggering beating out and the tier legs beating out. If you can, because no one else really wants staggering leg plates. If you can snag them, I just say grab them. Like, because even when we do see a difference, we also just see such a minuscule difference between those 2 pieces. It doesn't matter. Like it's like 3 or 4 DPS at the most. It's within the margin of error on the sim.
So it's
So
really
you have
close.
Hailstorm in your offhand instead of Last Laugh.
That's another like that's a choice because it's only 3 DPS worse than Last Laugh in the offhand.
If you're human, is it better?
Yeah, probably actually. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't sim as human because human is a mistake.
Yeah.
Actually, it shouldn't be because you're expertise capped.
Yeah, you're 25.
Yeah, so like it's you get just there, but it's so minuscule.
Yeah.
As Orc, you are going to wear double Last Laugh, but you shouldn't play Orc.
but you shouldn't play Orc.
Oh god.
I mean, I said what I said. Like, if you're playing Morb, you should be Troll, you should be Draenei. Like, I guess if you were playing Orc, you can ask for a second Last Laugh, but like, why?
Yeah.
God damn it.
Everyone's gonna be mad seeing you get a second Last Laugh though over the trolls.
Just go Troll, do more DPS. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
The helm isn't the meta gem isn't correct, is it?
No. That's 42 attack power and minor rune
It
speed.
should be RED.
Yeah.
Okay.
Relentless, of course.
Agility crit.
Yeah.
I
That
am
is just
all over
so
the place
strong.
today.
Don't worry, dude. Making 80
Yeah, no worries
upgrades
at all.
is just like, yeah.
I just don't use the website very much.
Is there no oh, there is a personal rating for the sigil. So if you can't get the actual Deadly Gladiators sigil, the
blue
Death
one.
Coil sigil was on single target, at least on
Better
my
than
simming slightly better on single target, but I feel like Savage Gladiators just on overall is so good.
It kind of also depends when were you simming
And
it, too.
snapping.
Because
What? Yeah.
when were you simming it? Because for a while, Death Coil was benefiting a little more than it should. So
Mhm.
Death Coil was seeing like an increased priority on that. Like it was double dipping off of some stuff it shouldn't have been. That's been
Okay.
fixed now. So right now, the last I checked, even the blue PvP sigil, which I don't know if it's going to exist even, because I think that was like deleted in the original Wrath.
Mhm.
But like even that is simming higher than Wild Buck for me.
Yeah.
What's the pre-bis sigil I should be using as Frost? Because
As-
it's Wild Buck right now, and
Yeah, it shouldn't be Wild Buck. That's yeah. It should be. Let's see.
I think is it the Icy Touch one until you get
the problem
one
with
from
all
Raid?
those,
The one from Raid is all of them suck for Frost until you get the Obliterate
they're
one.
terrible.
You want the one from Raid.
You need it. It's so
I think
good.
you just use the Plague Strike AP one because the other ones are just not very good. Because you're
Yeah, the AP would be
just
nice,
You're just
yeah.
casting Icy Touch and Plague Strike ideally once a fight as Frost
Yeah.
and never again.
You
That's
hopefully don't ever press it again. Yeah. So it's like if you get an AP buff from it, it's fine.
They all suck.
They all kind of just.
You could
suck.
probably have no slot there and you'll be fine.
I mean, you can use the level 60 one you get, or the level 58 one you get from doing the quest that gives you AP on Blood Strike, because you'll be using that more.
That actually is probably the best one.
Oh my god.
It
That's
actually is
actually
probably
not
the best one.
Yeah,
It's
that's not even
one
a
you
bad
use the
idea.
most.
Yeah. I never even thought of that. You just don't
Level
have it on
58?
like the
You leave the starting area,
What's-
you got a pre-bis item.
what's
Yep.
the name? Do you guys know?
Sigil of no.
Yeah. Sigil of Haunted Dreams.
Haunted Dreams.
Yo, Zero, let's go, man.
No, that's the
Oh
one
no, no,
from,
no, no, no. That's not it.
God, is it not even on the sim?
That's the crit one from Bloodstrike. It's probably literally not.
I don't think
Dark
we even
Rider?
have it in the sim. It's Dark Rider, yeah, because you get it from the quest where you get the horse.
Yeah, increase the damage dealt by your Blood Strike and Heart Strike by 90.
Yeah.
So like that's
It's not attack power though. I think the attack power on overall would add
probably
up.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like getting 90 attack power on a single obliterate, probably better.
Yeah. And then like when you're running around having attack power when you're like blasting and stuff, right?
What, the Scourge Strike?
Yeah.
It's probably
Not
better
Scourge
than-
Strike. Yeah.
Or the one where you get a
Plague
Plague
Strike.
Strike AP?
Yeah.
Yeah, the PvP.
You guys think that's better than Blood Strike? 90
Bloodstrike
extra
just
damage
hits
on
so
that?
weak.
I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
like
But
the
I-
96
like-
AP one time in a fight, most likely.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to like you'd switch it for single target, right? Like I think you would actually switch
Yeah.
it for single target. Columbus, I linked him like 30 seconds ago, right above you. All of these.
The crit chance from badges is probably your go-to. I mean, it's that one's really bad though. Like
Yeah.
it's almost definitely better than the AP on Scourge Strike or on Plague Strike, and the AP or the extra damage, not AP, on Blood Strike.
Yeah.
It's just it's just also bad.
Haunted Dreams.
You just have no good sigils basically until you get the obliterate one.
Yeah,
Sigil of Awareness.
They suck, and they suck hard. And if God forbid some two-hand unholy motherfucker tries to take your sigil as a Frost Death Knight, you come for them because they do not need it.
Yeah. You're like, why are you playing two-handed unholy? Get with the times.
Same thing with Blood DKs. They don't want that.
Yeah, they do not.
Yeah.
Just, that is a sigil just for Frost Death Knights.
It is very strong for Frost too. It is really nice.
336 damage on Oblet. Yeah.
Yeah. I love this. Any other particular items that are like really, really high prio for either of the specs that like you might have a lot of contention going for?
The helm is the only highly contested item, honestly. Like every physical wants that, but also, to be quite frank, like this early in the expansion, we're the only physical DPS that like plate physical DPS that matter.
Yes.
No one's gonna be gearing their Ret Paladin over their Death Knights. No one's gonna be gearing their Arms Warrior over their Death Knights. Like, I don't know. It's Obsidian is just, you take it. It's what you want first. It's probably like the most contested item, but your competition this early in the expansion doesn't exist, right? They're just not that great at the moment. So you're just competing against other Death Knights.
One question, one bear and a panda saying, do you think you're going to see a lot of PvE players using PvP weapons, or are they never really like nearly good enough?
So for phase 1 specifically, as an Orc Frost Death Knight, the PvP weapons are simming slightly ahead.
Really?
Yeah, because you can drop a little bit of expertise
in pre-patch or in pre-bis.
In phase 1 bis.
Phase 1 bis better than Last Laugh.
Yeah, as Frost, you don't use Last Laugh.
Yeah. Sorry. I thought we were talking about my bad.
Yeah.
So like the gladiator weapons, the epic gladiator weapons, only as Frost. Or if you were a Frost Orc in pre-bis, if you can get the blue weapons, those are also comparable. Slightly better than the swords. But like it's also very marginal because of how decreased the value of expertise is on racials.
So for the most part, no.
Yeah, like there is very marginal points in which you would use them, but it's very, very minor. It's not nearly as big as it was in TBC. Like you're getting 4 or 5 DPS at the most.
Thundering Haste for Morb.
No, that's wrong. I sent you a new one with RAD. Yeah.
We mentioned that. Yeah. Sorry guys. That one's boom.
That's just a side effect of me waking up early. Sorry guys.
What about other phases for gear? Definitely also, I'm just gonna link the WoWHeads, because WoWHead doesn't have, he was mentioning the like aesthetic part of it yet, right? So it's lists, written out as lists. But he's
glove enchant is also wrong on the Morb P1 bis.
It is, yeah. It's attack power. I know, it's okay though. He's like, God damn.
I typed it so you didn't have to. You know.
I have to out myself. This is my fault. This is why I don't use 70 upgrades. Here, hyperspeed accelerators. Listen, if the WoWHead lists were like postable, it'd be fine because those are all perfectly right.
Yeah.
But they are currently not embeddable.
Yeah.
There you go.
Perfect. Here.
Man,
there you
had
guys go.
Coffee this morning. I got like 6 kilometers in. I had coffee. I should be awake.
You're a big old 6K. Yeah, thank you, dude. You wake up so early. By the way, that's.
Yeah, it's just habit. I have to go into the hospital super early in the morning, so.
That makes sense. You're just like used to it, yeah. So thank you for being here so early.
I'm just listening because I don't know anything about DKs. And I'm just watching Zirene. It's been interesting watching Zirene's webcam because as it goes by, it's getting darker where he lives.
Oh yeah,
turning into a fucking. It's pretty cool.
That's happened like every time. That's so funny.
It
becomes from it becomes from like light, like a white, light to like you see like the lights behind him too, and like the orange and stuff. Yeah,
I fucking love
so moving forward on past gearing, what about leveling? You mentioned earlier that you really think the only spec to level as is Unholy. Do you think that's even two-handed Unholy, even in dungeon spam groups?
Oh yeah, if you were running like a melee cleave, you can go Frost because like that's fine. Like the actual
talons,
like the dungeon leveling speed of Unholy and Frost is pretty similar. If you were doing any questing whatsoever, though, there's literally no reason to play anything other than Unholy. Unholy quests so much faster. It's got base movement speed from Imp Unholy. It's got mounted speed from On a Pale Horse.
And you take that when you're leveling?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you can kind of choose maybe just taking one or the other, taking both, depending on how you're leveling. Like if you're just questing, you may just take On a Pale Horse because you're not going to be like running to and from as much as you're going to be mounting to and from.
I also feel like leveling in Unholy Presence is usually better because you're just dumping all of your runes on a mob and then it's dead and then you're moving on to the next one. So having the lower GCD is actually very nice.
Stuff doesn't have enough HP that the 15% damage from blood is worth it most of the time.
You also can't get like things up in dungeons early on in like a cleave group, any sort of cleave group, even if it's spell cleave, if you're not in an unholy presence.
Oh yeah, it helps a lot. Like reduce GCD to getting a diseases spread, everything. Like in quick scenarios, you're going to be playing an unholy pres, and that the improved unholy presence makes that feel so much better too.
Do you have an unholy leveling build on the
on WoWHead? Yeah, there is one. It only takes, I think, unholy presence or on a pale horse, and just mentions to kind of like either take one or both depending on what you're doing. Because you can kind of like, if you're just dungeon spamming, you don't need to take mounted speed, so you don't take on a pale horse, because like your actual time spent mounted is going to be very minimal. And then if you're questing, you know, you take on a pale horse, and you wouldn't take imp unholy.
Yeah,
because you're going to be in unholy presence anyway.
Yeah. And then yeah, you're pretty much always in unholy presence leveling. It's just so easy.
Oh yeah.
How do you feel about specs in the pre-patch? Are you looking at pretty much also unholy being significantly stronger?
I don't know about that, because like we don't have access to icy talons, so Gary is going to be just inherently weaker.
Yeah.
I think Frost may have its time to shine at level 70. Just because it's not so reliant on its off spec or its its like sub spec, whereas Unholy is super reliant on that icy talons damage for Gary.
Yeah,
you just can't get both at 70.
Yeah. So there you have that, guys. What about blood DPS? We talked about that at the beginning. Yeah, it's blood DPS this time.
Did Rug just pop in here? Who the fuck said that?
No blood DPS. I won't allow it.
Yeah, and then so that's easy for leveling and such. But for professions, we pretty much everyone needs to be engineering.
Yep.
How close are the other professions? I know that snapshotting would be really nice with FlexWeave, right?
That's the tailoring one, right?
Yeah.
It's that's oh no, so FlexWeave is just
it's just the engineering one. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the fall speed. The tailoring was like a sword sweave or something like that.
Yeah. Embroidery.
Sword something embroidery. It's okay. Honestly, like it's not nearly as strong as hyperspeed accelerators are. Engineering is literally miles ahead of anything else. Like if you have to be one profession, like period, it's gonna be engineering. Engineering is better than like the difference of not getting greatness even. If you have gold already, you don't have to worry about crafting your own greatness. Then jewel crafting is going to be your second profession, just because it does provide like slightly more strength than any other of like the other professions. It gives, I believe it's like 84 strength compared to 80 strength, which does kind of just barely, or
eke out
84. It's like 104 or something like that. It slightly ekes out ahead of other stuff.
Does though the tailoring cloak enchant affect snapshotting?
It does. So it's an AP snap or proc. So like it's
Sword,
pretty good for Gargoyle.
Card embroidery. There we go. Yeah, but just not enough.
Yeah, it averages out to be slightly less AP. That's before the extra we gain from strength, from getting pure strength. It's still pretty good. Like it's don't get me wrong, it's still very strong, especially for snapshotting. It's just
isn't JC even better in the first phase, because we're not going to have gems better than the blue ones?
Yeah, because
that's the thing. It depends on if we're going to get the buffed JC or not, because JC was also buffed. Like JC was even better, yes, but like chances are we just get the buffed like final form of everything. So like blacksmithing is the one that is the worst, basically. If they give us the buffed forms with blue gems, blacksmithing would give you the least amount of stats, period.
So basically the one you need is always gonna be engineering. And then if you don't need the gold, jewel crafting is the second strongest.
Oh yeah.
But Darkmoon card rate an higher DPS increase than either of those. Potentially.
Potentially, definitely for Frost maybe, but like Unholy, I still think Hyperspeed probably beats out having greatness compared to not having it. Just because
And speed on boots.
that's the one that like.
Dude, you don't want to be the guy in the raid where you press everybody
Imagine.
presses nitros
Yeah.
and you're the one who's left.
Like it, and
That would suck.
I hammer that home in all my guides too, is that nitro boosts are period the best cooldown in the game. They are the best uptime, the best get out of danger, the best defensive, offensive cooldown. They are the sole reason. If this was the only thing you got from engineering, you would still value engineering higher than any other profession by a massive margin. It helps that engineering is already better even without these because of the strength of hyperspeed, but nitro boosts are, I personally think, the most important tool, period, for a Death Knight. Because we are kind of a low mobility class, this just gives us so much room to be utterly degenerate with like AMS soaking or staying on uptime on targets, stuff like that. It is, I think, the most powerful thing in the game, period.
And from the map, Tailoring Edge Cloak averages about 133 attack power, and JC gives 54 strength, which strength is almost triple dipping, right? So it's really relatively close. Like if you're getting that snapshot, could you see that being? Because the snapshot is like straight 400 attack power, right? Like the average is obviously 133, like over time, but that 400 attack power seems really strong.
Oh yeah, and so like, I believe in the sim, JC gems are still slightly eking out ahead, but I don't know that we've actually, or they're more than slightly eking out ahead. But that's also, I don't know if we've taken into account trying to snapshot sword guard embroidery.
Yeah.
Which I don't know the proc rate on it. I don't know if it's a high. If you click the effect, it should show you its proc rate.
It's not clickable on WoWHead right now.
Huh. So like, I guess that's going to be our.
Because it's early. It's
Or is that?
I think you're on the. Is this
spell?
The cast of it? This is the cast of putting it on something.
Actually, you're right.
So yeah, click that.
Enchant item, sword guard, embroidery.
Yeah.
Where?
It's green. It should be a little lower.
That's not clickable. I'm gonna find it there. That's not clickable either.
It's not clickable. What? Okay. Well,
That's something that we'll have to look into, because I haven't personally looked into it, is if we are currently tracking its like uptime properly or its snapshotting properly with Gargoyle. Because like I could see, if we're not tracking it, like the snapshotting potential of it in Gargoyle, it being better than JC. As of right now in preliminary sims though, JC is still looking better.
60-second ICD tailoring one. 45-second ICD, 15-second uptime, and
20% chance to proc is what I have here.
20%. That is
This is what this looks like here, at least.
pretty nice.
It's definitely not the worst at all. 20% is not amazing for such a small snapshotting window, which is like what you're worried about, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm very curious. I'm intrigued, right? So, it seems like it has
potential. Like,
potential.
Definitely. Once I'm like back home and able to actually sim stuff again, I'll look into seeing if the sim currently takes into account it being snapshotted or not, waiting for it to snapshot. Because like, that's one of the big things, is like, because we have to manually track the Gargoyle cast for like waiting for a snapshotting like stuff. Sometimes it'll just pop it when it could still be waiting for another proc.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then like that proc just immediately is worse if it happens 1 second after Gargoyle is spawned.
By so much.
By a lot, yeah.
By a lot. And also it takes into account, this is something that's like really nice for jewel crafting, is like you always have uptime on like whatever you're fighting, but like if sword guard procs the last hit of a mob and you're running to the next one, there's no uptime of that. So like that is like pretty large. Like JC is just like ekes out stronger overall, like statistically, like it also lets reliable.
You target your gems too, because you can also, like, if you are just so much off of like a hit cap, you can also just put in that hit gem, like the upgraded hit version.
Yeah.
Or expertise cap, stuff like that. So like there is also like small gains from those gems as well.
Is there an arbor pen gem later too?
Yes, there is, which
Mm.
isn't relative for Unholy,
just
but for Frost, it very much is.
Someone's asking, is Relentless always better than Thundering Skyfire?
Yes, Thundering
Yeah.
Skyfire has a dog shit proc rate. It is. It's got a low duration. Its proc rate is dog water. It is a pain in the ass to get it to proc, and it never procs when you want it to. It is. We thought it was going to be good. We tested it. It was so terrible to play around. And like, even in absolute best case scenarios, it was so middling compared to just having red, like barely better. It's not worth it in any scenario. Like
Mhm.
maybe if you're trying to like hyper roll the RNG like parse 100%, you'd use it, but like it's so bad.
Yeah.
Also, you have to use 2 red, 2 blue, 2 yellow for it.
Yeah,
which
like
is gross.
it's terrible compared to just having to use one nightmare tier.
Yeah, which is so convenient, like literally to
Yeah.
knock out your meta gem with like whatever's going in your other, like in your helm, in your blue slot in your helm, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
like so consistent.
It's 2 reds, 1 blue, or something like that.
RED is one.
Relentless is one of each.
Yeah.
One of each.
One of
So
each,
you
yeah.
knock it out with a
That's right,
single
that's right,
nightmare.
that's right.
Whereas the Skyflare, the crit and crit damage one equivalent, requires you to have 2 blues, which is just worse.
Yeah.
You just get more strength from having an extra strength gem instead of a strength stam or an
Yeah.
extra nightmare tier.
Looking into, do you know of any, or does anyone know of any gold farming? Any suggestions for gold farming as a Death Knight? I know a lot of classes have really nice farms, like rogues have really nice farms right now, but any suggestions? Any thoughts?
Did you? I don't know why this popped up. Maybe it'll require gear and stuff like that. But I think blood DKs can go solo like TBC bosses for gold.
Oh yeah.
There's like
What?
a video of blood DK killing Doomwalker for 500 gold.
Oh
'Cause
my
that's
god,
that's
put
raw
that
gold
in
he
here.
drops.
Oh yeah. We have some guy who gets the sword from like Strathholm, so he's got 3 diseases. So
Yep.
his death strike heals him for like 5% extra, and he's just been soloing TBC mobs. So like, it's very niche, but yeah, it's probably worth it for like if you are not into GDKPs, not into doing like profession farming, like
That's
just raw
the
gold
is that
farming.
Skullforge Reaver? What is that?
Link that video really fast, Zirene.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
see.
I'll see if I can find it.
I don't remember the name of the sword. Someone has to have it in Blade Club. It's a constant meme that I have to live with.
All I know is DK Discord is worse than Fight Club already. Oh my god.
It kind of is.
How many times do you you get memed all the time?
My life
All
is
I know
a
is-
Discord shitpost at this point.
All I know is I get the best gifs made. My thumbnails
dude,
are
all these
crushing.
videos are like 5 pixels because they're like from
Hell
back
yeah,
in
dude.
2009.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this one right here is like, it's so hard to tell the difference in the pixels. Is somebody playing on like Wrath Private?
Doomwalker.
This is somebody playing on Wrath Private server, I think. So it's 2 years old, and you can actually see the pixels.
Yeah.
You can actually tell what's going on here.
He's like an ICC, the ICC mace.
Yeah, you're gonna need
Yeah,
like
he's
better gear
fucking
for that.
geared out to the teeth.
Yo, that
Yeah,
beard
Deathbringer's
troll?
will.
Look at
Deathbringer's
that.
will.
What a Chad.
Oh. Oh no, that's Shadowmourne. I thought it was even the first mace. Yeah, that's
Oh,
Shadowmourne.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Shadowmourne
like somebody
for
in
blood.
DPS gear though, because they have like 37k HP.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this man's on DPS gear. This is
Yeah.
a blood DPS.
Yeah, that's rugs.
This is
He's hard striking.
the real champion. It was 6 minutes long. 500 gold, 6 minutes, easy. You know?
Yeah, when it's up.
Yeah.
When there's not 30 Blood Death Knights trying to do this exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Shadowmourne and Deathbringer's will. This guy's fucking stacked.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
What's the strat weapon again? Did we find that?
I don't remember what it is.
Is it a
I'll
one-handed
log in.
sword? Because I know
Yeah,
there's
it's
the
a-
I'll
What was
log
it?
in
It was
normal
the,
and check.
It was the one from like RFK or RFC that gave a disease.
It's a one-handed sword from Strat. It's off the last boss.
Baron Reaver.
Wait, is
It
it
might
the
be Skullforge
legendary?
Reaver.
Oh no, it might. Yeah, it's that one-handed that hangs out on your back.
Possibly, yeah. Just like
Drains
a leech
target
or
for
something.
2 shadow damage every 1
Yeah,
second.
Skullforge
Answers
Reaver
it to
is
you
the
30
one-handed.
second.
Okay.
It says it's a curse. Check this in. Wrath of the Lich King.
Skullforge Reaver, yeah. This sword looks cool. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm pretty sure that's the one they were talking about.
I think it's the one from like RFC, isn't it?
Might have been from
God.
Scholomance. It was one of the Wrath Scalo undead places.
Sword of Decay.
Yeah, sort
where's
of. That's
that?
that's like a BOE. Sword of Decay is a BOE.
Baku
From,
says there's one from Scalo. Baku is one of the people that memes me about this stupid sword.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Okay,
Is it,
let's see. Last boss. Silent Fang silences the target.
Silent Fang was what caused Death Knights to be broken for all of the first season of
What does
Wrath.
it do? We can hear
Dude.
portraits in a way I can't see what it's doing.
Oh,
What is it?
Silent Fang.
Just move your atlas foot over.
Yeah. Silent Fang is used to be so busted in PvP. Double rogue teams used to use this.
Mm.
Oh, it's
double-
the axe. It's a 2-handed axe.
Ah.
Two-handed axe, yeah.
Gravestone War
That would
Axe.
suck.
From which boss?
Let's see. I think it's a gargoyle. Kurtonos the Herald.
Oh, Kurtnos. Yeah. Okay. There we go.
There we go.
Oh yeah, disease the target for 55 nature damage for 15 seconds. So
And
you
this
just
Your diseases get refreshed by pestilence, correct? Even this one,
I believe so.
and that's why you're able to keep it up forever.
what?
Yeah,
Does it scale up?
I'm not an expert in this dumb meme spec though, so
yeah.
Confirmed bis, guys.
Oh,
you
no,
use this.
it wasn't refreshed. It just had a high proc rate.
Oh, it had a high proc rate. Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
Does it get refreshed, Mabrito? Yeah, Pesty does not work on the weapons. Yeah, okay.
It does not.
Okay.
Okay.
It did for a while. So like Shadow Priest dots, the Vampiric Plague was also spread by Pesty for a little bit. In retail Wrath.
Yeah. Doesn't work on the
Alright.
weapons.
This
Because
is
people
the
were talking about
secret.
Sword of Decay being like a BOE, like level 29 weapon or something like that. That had
also-
a strength decay thing, but it's low proc rate.
It's also important to remember that because these like weapon spells that are so low level, they're gonna have a higher like. Oh no, they won't. Resist chance isn't affected by level anymore in Wrath.
Mm.
Oh boy.
Whoa.
By the
Oh,
which is
are you
why
getting
Annihilator
slowly
will be great,
convincing
right?
yourself?
No, I'm not. And
Slowly
Annihilator is bad.
You sure? Why is Annihilator bad, man?
Annihilator is bad unless you're a fucking prop paladin, and then in
There
which
you go.
case it is the best thing on earth, and it's the only fun I'm allowed to have on prop paladin.
I love
Oh.
when prop paladins throw on Annihilator. It's like the dopest thing.
Zirene and I tank our guild's GDKP together, and like every time I'm stuck off tanking, it's a game of me shouting Annihilator!
You like 3 procs? Oh,
3 procs!
oh
Recklessness,
God.
huggers!
So good. Dude, I wish more people were convinced to use Annihilator.
It's good.
It's
RNG?
actually good. It's actually good.
I got nothing better to do as a prop paladin.
Yeah, you don't do anything right now when you're not tanking as a prop paladin other than like get your judgment up and dispel some people.
But yeah, there's in terms of like gold farms and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I know the one where Blood can like start running around like soloing things in TBC, no problem. I don't know of any other ones at the moment
Yeah, we're
that are
not
like
a
exclusive
class
DKs.
that's super reliable in like AoE farming, to be honest.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it just feels like the Blood DK stuff is going to be like you can tank, you self heal. They're very self sufficient. Lots of ways to keep yourself up. It's probably going to be the one that near the end of the game is going to be the spec that people will go to farm stuff as DK.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
can get away with a lot.
You can go farm all your mounts, like solo everything.
And I
Mhm.
do know some guy was farming like Gruul. Like he killed Gruul by himself on beta with that stupid axe that has a proc rate for whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a thing. It's just not a great
It just
thing.
would take so long. Your weapon is like 30 DPS.
Yeah, just go do a Naxxramas GDKP and make more money off of one item dropping.
Yeah. Or just front load your entire expansion and do herbalism and
Make greatness.
Make
sell it,
greatness.
be set for life. Yeah.
yeah. You'll never have to worry about anything else ever again. All right, gold farming easily achieved. And then we mentioned this already earlier, but pre-patch things. Is there anything else to note in pre-patch things to look out for? We obviously are looking at trinkets and those shoulders. But anyways, like fastest ways you would think of gearing in pre-patch or what to get done.
So
There's a lot of things that are good though, like pretty close to previous, right? Like cloak legs,
trinkets, cloak. The helms are super good. From
Chest.
like Sunwell helms are super good. The pants as well from Sunwell.
Jaden.
Honestly, a lot of the Sunwell gear is very close to like second or third Prebis. So if you have bad luck, like they're worth picking up early if you can get in there to get them. But like trinkets especially are so strong here at the end of TBC that like BNS is worth picking up, DST is worth picking up, Shard is worth picking up, what's it called? Berserker's Call is worth picking up. Like you can't go wrong just going and grabbing stuff like that no one else really needs in your guild anymore.
Yeah.
Farming rep would be pretty strong too, because you're not going to have immediate access to Wrath enchants. So going and like in the pre-patch farming yourself some rep will help a lot for just having like a helm enchant and a shoulder enchant immediately while you are like farming your Sons of Hodir or your what's it called?
Knights of Ebonblade. Ebonblade, yeah.
Which like they're both Hodir will take longer, but it's still only like 21 days or something, I think. But like and Ebonblade should be done within like a week or two.
It's so fast, literally a day.
Yeah, like it's I think it's like literally like 1.3 set of heroics or one set of heroics, and you're pretty much done. But like, it's worth getting those for questing. It's worth getting those while you are farming the other stuff. Like it doesn't take much right now. It's pretty cheap. It's worth doing.
Guitar axe or bust.
True, you should get the guitar axe. If you come into
sure.
Blight Club and you post screenshots without the guitar axe, I will mock you relentlessly.
So make sure you have it, or else you're gonna get memed. Yeah, there's a lot of just Sunwell gear. I think like the best is always like what you're doing, right? It's like being the first DK in the guild. That's like you have splits anyways. There's like you're literally like once you get hit 70, like you have like a full slurp raid. Like it's like just give me everything. Run ZA, run Magister's Terrace, get fucking Shard of Contempt from there also, because that thing is just so strong.
Yeah, there's like 4 of us slotted to just get the full zooting in splits the second we can.
Yeah.
If you're if honor doesn't reset, I know we're gonna do like tank episode later and stuff like I said. It's worth getting honor as a blood DK, because your Bish shoulder enchant for the entire game comes from 10k honor. So every time you get
really?
Yeah, it's like stamina and resilience.
Yep.
So you're always
all
gonna run it.
All tanks want to do PvP to some degree for shoulder enchants.
Does anyone else?
It's like 10k, so I think it literally takes like 2 BGs or 3 BGs, and you have enough for it.
Does anyone else want to do or like want to focus on honor or anything other than like the weapons, which are, as we mentioned earlier, literally like second bis, basically, other than in Sunwell gear?
If you're unholy, you can get if the blue sigil is in the game on launch, which it technically wasn't on like actual Wrath, I guess, but it's there on the like beta right now. That is worth picking up until you can get the gladiator one. Like it's very strong. It's only like 20 less AP.
Okay, that is really nice. So make sure to check that out, guys. And then, yeah, you shouldn't be able to get Marks of Honor, or no, not Marks of Honor. You shouldn't be able to get like badges from BGs anymore during pre-patch. They should be gone.
Yeah,
because they can turn it on anyway.
Yeah. Unfortunate, because I thought we would be able to find, like right now on the beta, you can get any one of the 60 rank 14 weapons for 3 badges. It's crazy. And you can resell them for 3 badges and 10k honor. So it's a little cheeky bug that's going on. So if you're about to level a class that's already level 60, or even like if you're gonna boost a character that's like level 15 or something, just grab that, and in case Blizzard doesn't catch that, just grab a couple badges, you know? Just get, your rank 14 weapons. It still requires level 60, but might as well.
You guys didn't rank on your Death Knights? Come on.
Can
we get a ranker chair posted?
Hello? Yeah, I did not rank on my Death Knight, unfortunately.
That's one thing we should touch on really quickly is Death Knight PvP.
Oh, yeah.
How strong is it?
You're going to eat every caster alive. But
I hate fighting them.
But if a warrior looks at you, you're going to live a very, very short and very painful experience. Death Knights exceed at just destroying caster cleaves. They have so much disruption, so much immunities. Like it feels very bad to play against a Death Knight as a caster.
Stun immunity, ways to like,
fear immunity, infinite amounts of slows and roots and stuns, and you have a silence that's on a range. You have a very low cooldown free interrupt. You've got Death Grip, which is just goes through what's it called? Aura Mastery, by the way. So most powerful caster like Paladin immunity, just Death Grip him and stop the cast.
It's actually funny because
that's crazy.
I was a Gladiator HPAL player in season 3 and 4 originally. And one of the reasons I actually quit the game in Wrath of the Lich King was TOGC was not very fun. That's when they took away Gladiator from 2s, and I really did not like DKs. It's actually DKs actually made me quit the game because one of the big things in PvP was positioning, and DKs had the only ability that just said "fuck your positioning," and they yoinked you out into the middle of nowhere. Like that is so goddamn strong in all like. Literally, you can make a 5s comp just around a DK death gripping somebody to your comp and just blowing them up. It's actually so insane how good it is.
That's actually great because that's when I got my first Gladiator, Zirene. So I inadvertently caused you to quit the game as a Death Knight in 3s.
Actually hated it. It was just, I don't know. I just thought it was bullshit because 5 years plus of, or not 5 years, 5 seasons of having to learn how to LOS, and it's a whole Athene around the corner. This is what the paladin does. Around the corner. It's DK just says fuck all that shit. Come here.
Yep. Yoink.
It's actually just so strong, and it's so annoying on characters that don't have a way to get away, and even ones that do. Something like a mage, you're just gonna get yoinked after blink, and especially if they play with another stun class in 3s, it's very very hard to play against DKs initially, and even once they're season. I mean, they even got a ton of nerfs. We were talking about the removal of HOTS and stuff like that from Plague Strike that got taken out. Stuff was
resurrected
insane
after they were killed to do more damage than
that
they did when they were alive.
That was funny.
What was that a bug?
Absolutely broken.
No, so Death Knights used to Unholy Death Knights when they were killed, they'd turn into a ghoul and be able to keep attacking, and they just did more damage as a ghoul than they did as a living Death Knight.
That would be the ultimate parse. All right, death pact yourself to death because now that's a thing.
And they get Necrotic Strike and Kata, right?
Yes, Necrotic Strike was Kata, which is terrible.
That's when I really quit the game. Was when that started being a thing.
Oh yeah, that was a bad spell to create. It wasn't as bad as eating HOTS, but it still sucked.
Yeah.
People who don't know, Necrotic Strike was an ability that was added where if a DK hit you with Necrotic Strike, it gave healing absorption. So if somebody wanted to heal you, they had to heal through an anti-healing shield. So, and it would stack. So if you didn't pay attention and heal that person, and they just kept stacking Necrotic on him, and then they hard swapped him, he would have 5k plus of something you had to heal through before you could actually heal him.
Yep, and it had a very small damage portion of it. It did almost no damage, so it was almost impossible to tell unless you were watching their debuffs.
Yep. And even then, the debuffs weren't telling you how much of it was stacked up or anything like that. They just had Necrotic Strike on them.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Terrible class.
Yeah. Just
That's
so strong.
So great. They're so.
Yeah, you two-hand in PvP and you play Unholy. I don't think there's really any exceptions to that.
Yeah, so that's why Shadowmourne and Human, the two things that we were guessing.
Yeah. And need first DBW as well, obviously.
Yeah, of course. Which that's a good question. How contested is that for more? Because I guess it would be like a snapshot thing, right?
Yeah, it's
get
good.
The good ones.
It's your best.
Some are better.
Now. Now that you can't get double TOGC trinkets because
Yeah.
they're stopping the stacking of that, DBW is now your BIS. It's very strong. It's not as strong as the TOGC trinket, so like you're probably going to be a little lower on the prio because more classes just kind of get a little more from it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you should be before the Ret Paladin.
Pretty much the entire expansion. I don't know what Ret Paladin gets above other classes, sadly.
Oh my
They're-
god.
They get
mm.
no, I can't think of anything.
Because like
We need a Red Paladin Discord enjoyer in here. Defend you.
You give them
mean-
tier first so that they can in ICC.
Pally, like 3 weeks, three episodes
True.
away. Watch out.
True.
Yeah,
something
watch
like that.
out,
Like,
dude.
it's
You
so
better-
funny. Crix made the Paladin chat, and I immediately went in there and I was like, okay, so what the fuck? Did Paladins get like nerfed over and over again and then balanced around T10? Like what happened to them? And they were like, yeah, they literally got nerfed every patch. And so the Paladins we're getting right now are like really gimped Paladins that are kind of balanced around running around with T10 2 set.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
when they get T10 2 set, they'll be like every other class to some degree, but they've just been nerfed into the ground because they used to be incredible.
I'm hopeful,
It's a sad state.
but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just really sad. But
Well, I mean, it's sad for them. I'm happy about it.
You're like, DK is amazing right now. We're in such a
the
good
less-
spot.
The less I have to hear, Ret Paladins have been the scourge of my existence for all of TBC. Them being less popular in Wrath just makes my heart warm.
wow.
I'll take it.
Do you like share tier with them or something? Like what?
No, it's the having to do like the comparative sims and hearing Ret Paladins cry about how they absolutely need armor penetration gear in Sunwell because
that
it's
was fun.
8 DPS more than their haste gear on some fights in some situations when the Mercury is in retrograde. Oh,
Yeah, the armor pen stuff was a little bit. I'm not sure. Maybe it'll be better for them in pre-patch. I'm not sure.
We'll see how things pan
Maybe.
out.
I mean,
I'm
they
hopeful.
move completely to physical damage, so like ARP gets good for them.
Yeah.
Which is also why they're so bad in phase 1 too, because originally in phase 1 they were a magic damage like dealing class instead of scaling. So like they had a high base damage in phase 1 originally, but now it's all based off their fizz, so it just doesn't. It scales harder, but it's worse at the start.
Yeah. So, and then ARP getting nerfed and ARP cap and stuff in pre-patch. Oh, we'll see how they shine. This is
I
gonna
mean,
be
people should still be almost near armor penetration cap in current ARP levels. It's really not that big of a nerf. You see the scale immediately drop off at like level 71, level 72, but like at level 70, that ARP gear should still almost get you to 100% ARP. It's like it's with debuffs, it's like 86% or something, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was great. That was
big.
great. That was a big one. Really amazing. Is there anything else you want? Is there anything we missed that we didn't touch on?
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, that was a grip. I like it.
Yeah.
It's a grip.
Tanking. No.
I wish you guys had a grip.
I mean, I just went to DK College, Mr. Wiggles. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If there's any questions anyone else has in the chat that they're curious about,
Midfield, we got a couple here from earlier. I just didn't want to interrupt them.
Yeah.
While rating or not rating, without the snapshot playstyle of Unholy, would it have just been a mediocre spec? Snapshotting is.
Yeah, Gargoyle is a very large portion of the strength of Unholy. Without that snapshot, it is a kind of mediocre spec. It's AoE is still fine, but like on single target, it would have been completely outclassed by Frost without like the reliance on snapshotting. It is what makes it so ridiculously strong because you are getting double the benefit from all of your procs and all of these effects for 30 seconds, and that's just so ridiculously strong because that Gary acts like a second DPS and does as much DPS as you were doing.
yeah.
And at what point do you not take at what point do you not take to gain? At what talent point do you not take to gain improved Unholy Presence when you're speedrunning? You said to take it.
I take it out of Black Ice. There's probably a little more of an optimal choice for like single target versus single target versus AoE. My go-to is just drop 2 points from Black Ice, though. Go down to 2 of 5. If I'm being like real nitty-gritty on it, like for especially for speedrunning, you probably like take points out of maybe like Necrosis or Blood Cake. Or I don't know if you can take out of those because you need them to get there. So like it's kind of iffy. Maybe points out of One-Handed Mastery and
No,
Frost Tree.
you snapshot. You're cool. Easy.
True.
We figured it out, boys.
That's still
When do
the
you
worst check.
use Empowered Runic Weapon?
So it's going to depend on per spec. It's always in your opener. You always want to use it when you are you've used all your runes and you are benefiting from as many buffs as you can, so that you can A, get like 3 of Blitz off, or B, get like a brand new D&D off with all your stuff still up, and get like a whole rack of it. It's a button that doesn't do much unless you are like using it in your burst, because like yeah, you can just immediately start pressing buttons again, but it's not nearly as impactful if you are not using it when you are like benefiting from like your trinket procs and like damage amp stuff like that is what makes it so strong. It's also kind of inherently worse for single target as Morb, because like it's like
You're like, what are you using that on?
Yeah, you're getting like 6 extra icy touches off. Hell yeah, dude.
No, what you're doing is you're farming runic power for more
Don't say corpse explosion.
Don't
say corpse explosion. Don't say corpse explosion.
Oh my god.
Wait, there's also a thing where like if you're Morb spec, I believe Death and Decay plus Horn actually makes you generate runic power, right?
Yeah.
Like runic power doesn't decay
pull.
faster than the cooldown comes back up. So if you're running around doing nothing, you're casting Death and Decay and Horn because it won't decay fast enough. Exactly.
And Ghoul Frenzy, yeah. Literally, and Ghoul Frenzy gives you...
Yep.
Yeah, you should pretty much be walking around with full runic power.
Mm.
Yeah. Someone was asking about glyphs for Morb.
What's their range on Death Coil?
40 yards? 30 yards?
Let me see if I just closed it.
For glyphs for Morb, there's a couple options. Kind of the like, you could, there's some like debate over Death Coil and D&D and which of those two you use, or like Icy Touch. Personally, and it's kind of close in the math, but I think especially if you're caring about overall, you're always going to run Icy Touch, Death and Decay, Glyph of the Ghoul. Ghoul is always your consistent. You're literally always going to have that glyph. I like Death and Decay for overall. I like Icy Touch for overall. The Death Coil glyph has its points where it ekes out ahead of, I think, Death and Decay, but like that's only for single target, and I'm not a very single target like oriented player, so
20% D&D is so large, yeah.
It's
like
just
comparatively, yeah. There's no way
running it on my tank specs because it was fun.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Are any of the key glyphs not available in pre-patch till dailies in Dalaran?
Yes, Death and Decay and Obliterate. You have to do without those until we can do Northrend Milling.
Good question, Plex.
So I was just thinking about it because like Icy Touch range, you don't take like the increased range on things, right?
No,
Like the Frost Talent, yeah. So like when you're running in on a fight, are you actually like Death Coiling twice, into Icy Touch into Plague Strike?
You move so quickly, you usually don't have a chance to. You're getting like an Icy Touch and a Death and Decay off, and then like you're in on top of it.
So you're going to start an Unholy Presence, right? So like,
Yep.
I can imagine
Yeah.
you get a Death Coil Icy Touch off at the very beginning, right? Like Death Coil should be the first ability you're casting.
Death Coil, I often like if you are capped on runic power, yeah. It's kind of like it's a filler, right? If you can, if you're not going to get there in time, yeah. If you're pre-pulling from far away, but you're often so close to the boss in our pre-pulls that you get 2 GCDs and that's it. So you get 2 seconds till you're on top of the boss.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
Icy just D&D.
Yep, Icy D&D, Plague Strike, opener.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, is that it? Did you guys get it?
I think it's 30 yards, right?
Yeah, but we pull closer than 30 yards for most stuff.
Any major difference on single target between Icy Touch and Dark Death? Oh, those we just touched those, right?
Yeah, Icy Touch
very-
is it's like slightly worse than Dark Death on
yeah,
single target.
the nitro boost into it will change that. Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Nitro boost will change that.
Can't be slacking.
If you are a blood tank, what's the optimal second spec? Frost or Unholy?
I think Frost.
It's half Frost into Unholy. Because Unholy has a 3% chance to hit with spells, and then you have Dodge, which I believe this Dodge doesn't DR either, right? A Dodge talent.
Oh, for the sub spec. Yeah,
yeah.
it should be undr'd.
Yeah. Because like when you go really deep into Frost, there's the 3% chance to be missed, but the 5% chance to dodge, if you just put 3 points in there, the 3% chance to dodge is stronger than 3% chance to be missed.
Yeah.
By melee. I think it's just melee attacks. It's the one that looks like a piece of armor in the middle.
I think it's just hit by spells and abilities, right?
No, it's melee. Yeah.
Oh no,
Reduce the chance
attacks,
melee
yeah.
attacks will hit you by 1%. Yeah, so 3%.
So like the dodge is, in my opinion, slightly better because it allows you to use Rune Strike.
Yep.
And the chance to be missed is not. So, and I don't think those talents DR those avoidance.
Yeah, they don't. They're on top. So like outside of the pool of DR stats.
Yeah. So if you ever think about getting Frigid Dreadplate, just get the dodge instead.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing, just slightly better for offense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, you go down Frost, and then you eventually get Unholy pieces. I kind of like going Unholy to Morbidity sometimes, but that's mostly for like a Frost off tank stuff. When I'm doing blood tank stuff, it's half down Frost and then the rest in Unholy.
Yeah. Oof. And then as like, do you do would you like as an off spec, like full off spec when you're doing blood tanking or just tanking in general? Do you have a full DPS off spec, and what would you choose?
So what I ended up doing is I did a Frost DPS spec, and I just changed gear because you can actually tank. You can tank as Frost. Most of what a tank does, especially for like blood, if you're not taking big hits, if you're not taking gigantic hits like Patchwork, Hateful Strike, and Will of the Necropolis matters. A lot of what you're doing as a tank is you're mitigating damage, and that a lot of that is from gear and from presence. So like defensive stance, bear form, frost presence, right? Like all these things give you a large chunk of your durability, and then your gear is the other part of that. So changing gear and presence is most of what's going to make you a tank. So yeah, just setting up that and literally using the same frost spec for tanking or not, you're going to be able to hold threat. Icy touch is literally icy taunt at that point. It's just an insane ability. It does 14x damage
so
as
much.
threat. So if you icy touch for 2k, you just did 28k threat. It's actually an insane ability. 14x damage is threat.
Always gonna be that way? That's
it's always 14x damage is threat.
Jesus Christ.
Yep. It's just every tank has got like a threat modifier ability that's got like ×7 or something. It's icy touch.
It's ×7, but when you're in Frost Presence is 2.0, so it's
14 times.
Wow.
It's just an insane modifier for it. But going Frost, you pretty much use the same spec for tanking and running heroics and stuff like that. Just make sure you have the gear. So I actually think if you want to, if you're somebody who's like, this is what I'll probably do is I will probably, because I think blood is like a dead in the water spec in phase 1. I think it's not really good for what I want to do with it, tank wise. And I think that I'm just gonna go Frost and I'll tank heroics and like get the deep like the DPS gear later, right? I'll start with the tank gear and then I'll get DPS from that by tanking things, which is probably the route I will go.
Yeah.
So, and then maybe I'll go blood later when it ends up being like a spec that's relevant for like my type of guild. For dad guilds though, I think it's a lot better to be like blood for the big hits and like looking after yourself.
Yeah, because as of right now, it's only good for patchwork. Like it's
literally
the only time blood.
It's good for patchwork, and if you have 3 tanks and you want those 2 other tanks to hate their life for the rest of the instance, and you main tank everything, like blood is very much so a single target. Like this is my mob, me be big tank guy, and that's
you cannot kill me.
You really don't do anything else. Like, you make the boss as useless as you are.
PvP specs really fast. Is Unholy just like unmitigatedly the go-to usually?
Oh yeah. Frost has very niche very bad applications. If
Yep.
you're gonna go like stomp BGs, you can go Frost and hit Howling Blast on crowds and AV. But, like, for arenas, like the teams you're gonna play as a Frost Death Knight in arena are the same you're gonna play as Unholy, and you're just gonna do worse. Like you synergize the same way with other classes, you just do a worse job than Unholy. So it's unfortunate that just like Unholy or Frost is just not very good for arena.
Yeah, and Unholy has all these talents that are like absolutely designed for PvP. Like things like Anti-Magic Zone is an insane cooldown. It's only 2 minutes. You have the thing, you have the thing that allows. Yeah, exactly. You have this AOE slow that's permanent, basically. Can't really be dispelled. You got to freedom through it. You have undispellable diseases after you death coil. It's like it's just absolutely insane how strong it is.
AMS too. You've got a lot of.
AMS is like just a normal thing, right? Like all DKs have access to AMS. It's just a stronger AMS and then AMZ for. That's just, oh my god.
And Corpse Explosion finally has a use, and it's 3s. Because if you want to see some burst, try getting a Scourge Strike, Ghoul Gnaw into Corpse Explosion, and you'll just one-shot healers.
On your Ghoul,
Really?
Oh yeah, it just pops them.
Yeah.
That's why I was wondering if it was like a good thing in PvE, because my experience with Corpse Explosion was PvP, and
It's getting popped, yeah.
And like a really big pull, a really big pull, you have the extra runic power, you're like, boom.
It's got a 10 target cap. It's not good.
And like a really 10 size pull.
Just if you're worried about a 6-second 10 target pull, just go Frost.
Fair enough. There we go. Any other questions we have, guys? Do you see any, Crix?
Nope. I've been going as I was. There was one up here that said, I asked it. Nope.
All right.
Is leveling on Unholy Spec been talked about?
Yes.
Sword Strike, 2-hand weapon, yeah. The podcast will be up at 8 o'clock in the morning, so about 11 and a half hours. We're going to edit it down and do all the stuff, and we'll post it. It'll be timestamped and everything.
Yeah. Man, thank you guys for being here. Deance. First of all, congratulations again on your wedding, man. That's
thank you.
Amazing, man. Thank you so much for being here. You're a wealth of knowledge for DK, and everybody make sure to check out all of his stuff. Crix made a command in the chat, but also the Blight Club, which, what did you say was?
It's discord.gg/worms.
We got to talk about worms for 1 second. Like, fuck worms.
Worms are bad. The worms are a meme. Please do not buy into the worm meme. If you go to my Discord and you see a video of me drunkenly saying that you should play Blood DPS and that worms are the best part of the spec, it is not real. It is fake. You have been lied to.
Oh my god. Do you want to say any goodbyes, or like anything left you have to add, anything like that?
You guys on Tuesday for the Boomy one?
No, yeah.
That'll be fun. I can't wait for that. Boomy Feral's next in that order. It'll be spicy. I'm very excited for both of those because I like both of those specs a lot.
When are you guys doing Enhance?
It's going Boomy, Feral, Shadow Priest, Enhance, Ellie.
Who have we got on for Enhance? J-Ru
and Oro.
J-Ru and Oro.
Oro, there we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you guys have a room for a third one, I might see if I can recommend you one of the sim guys too.
That'd be beautiful, yeah, of course.
Yeah, get you probably Nijanin or Teeb. They do most of the Discord moderation and sim stuff.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Hunter is a little bit out.
Wild.
One of the last ones because we're doing Hunter, Warlock, and Warrior last because I have an entire podcast about Warlocks. He plays Hunter all the time and he's got videos, and fuck Warriors. So that's their last. But yeah.
So you're having rugs on for Warriors, right? Since he loves Warriors.
I don't know. Warriors is the only spec that I've yet to reach out for guests yet because it's kind of hard to go to fight. I don't know. I can't look at Fight Club and tell who's big brain or not because they all think they are. You know what I mean? We have all the guests. Have all the guests lined up for every spec so far now.
I can give you recommendations for Fight Club.
Orlando, yeah. I mean, I was thinking about Orlando just streaming and all, you know.
Yeah.
Jugs is a good one. Orlando
really
is
good.
a wealth of knowledge for parsing. Biana.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun. We're working on it. We got a lot of them. We're doing every Tuesday and Friday so we can blow through these deep dives. I'm not, we're working a lot. I don't need to talk to Armin. You guys, I'm just kicking it with chat. I don't know nothing about Melee. I'm not going to ever play Melee, so I'm just here to be
Missing
here.
out, man. Missing out.
It's me when we're talking about
I play
Mage.
5 casters. My hands are full, dog.
We were talking about Mage last week, and I was like, I don't know any of this.
That's why we also do the physical ones on his and casters on mine, so it makes sense,
Yeah.
Dogs baby hoof, perfect. Yeah, we'll get Sovdal. Yeah, no.
Oh, do you know if Horn of Winter, the glyph of Horn of Winter, is going to get changed?
It had better be because of that's something we didn't touch on. Don't take glyph of Horn of Winter, please, for the love of God. If you use it, everyone else in your raid has to use it. Otherwise, they can't cast Horn of Winter, and the glyph isn't worth it. You want to press Horn of Winter every time it's off cooldown. It's not worth having it last a minute longer. It's not a good glyph. Please don't use it.
Yeah, Deance ran into me using this thing, and I was like, I only use it because somebody else was using it. Like, I couldn't cast Horn of Winter, and I hated my life. Like, I'm using it now because I'm just like, if
you have to cancel Aura and then
over.
Horn. You have to two.
You have to like cancel macro it, yeah. But the thing is, I think there's like is there something that prevents you from pressing it twice and accidentally canceling it again? So if you have a cancel Aura macro,
no. I had I had to make 2 for a while.
Oh, that's
It was so annoying.
just don't use the glyph.
Oh my god.
oh god, what was the other thing that you had there? It was Raised Dead. Oh yeah.
Take Raise
that's
Dead,
easy.
so you have bag space, Blood Tap, so you can use it if you're low health. Pestilence is the best glyph on Earth, and if you don't use it, you're missing
Insane. It's so good. Yeah. Pestilence is like honestly so good. It's amazing.
Wow, you're not taking the Death's Embrace to heal your pet?
Oh my god.
out. Fuck that ghoul.
You want to corpse explode him?
Yeah.
I am a ghoulless Unholy Death Knight.
That shit,
actually.
Oh.
Lone Wolf.
Oh man,
He's
Glyph
like,
of
I don't
Corpse
wanna level with
Explosion
him.
seems pretty nice, you know?
Yeah, dude, extra, what is it? It's range, right? Yeah, radius,
yards.
5 yards. Radius is a lot. Yeah?
Oh yeah.
Everyone knows, like, if you talk about the radius of a pizza, that's a lot larger.
That's 10 yards across.
I hate it. Don't use this.
And then you
glyph.
jump. And you jump and have leeway.
Your ghoul jump.
All
I wonder
right.
if Corpse Explosion gets leeway.
Your ghoul would have to jump. So like, hold on.
Would that matter?
So right now, the GCD, your pet's GCD, is what counts for leap and claw and gnaw. But Corpse Explosion is off your GCD, but it's interruptible by your pet's GCD. So maybe you could
leap?
leap mid
Corpse Explosion.
It wouldn't work. That's not how this game works. But
Oh my god. Yeah.
Typhoon the Ghoul as you corpse.
Oh my god.
Works every time. Yes.
Oh god.
I love
my
your
God.
webcam. I just want to let you know that I've been stoned though most of this time staring at your webcam for like hours now. Yeah,
This
Whittles.
is-
Yeah, that's so dope.
This is a placeholder that somebody in like shaman chat made me like 2 years ago. I have commissioned, because my whole thing is George Costanza images as like my PFP. I've commissioned a like full likeness of George Costanza as an anime girl for a V-Rig model, and I
my God.
unfortunately don't have it on my laptop. It's at my computer back home. So
Oh my god.
it'll be. I was hoping I'd get it sent to myself, but no.
That's
Get it
so
sent to yourself.
phenomenal.
Yeah. So mom, can you go on my computer? There's gonna be it looks like, yeah. You ever watch Seinfeld?
But it's an anime girl, right? You get it?
Yeah,
okay,
it is.
yeah.
It is in fact
Yeah.
a balding anime girl.
Oh my god.
shit.
Man, thank you guys again. Yeah, just thank you so much for being on the stream with us. Amazing insight. If there's anything else you want to say before we cut it off and get this up on the noob tube.
Oh, I got
Tomorrow,
nothing.
8 a.m. Oh, here's the shout out. I got a link for you guys. Boom.
Yeah.
If you want to follow, if you want to look for whoever is here.
Everyone go
All
follow
around.
all of their Twitches, follow their YouTubes, follow their tweeters, and go to the Blight Club Discord and make more anime girl memes of me getting hit in the face.
No, I'm not going live again. I don't like late. We went over that. I don't like late shows. We're only doing it because Deance had to go late. Usually, that's why I'm not that talkative. It's the end of my day. I'm fucking exhausted.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Don't worry about it,
This
man.
is not about me. Yeah, this is about you. Don't even fucking worry about me. I'm glad you're here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're all about to have girlfriend aggro and wife
Yeah.
aggro from
Once she passes out, I might get back on and play some Fortnite or something.
Mine is not awake. It's 1 p.m. here and she's still asleep. I'm a little concerned.
Oh my god. You had a great night.
Where'd you
It's
guys
a
go? Shibuya or
honeymoon.
something
Let's
like
go.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
I
we
mean,
go.
It's just hitting. Oh, actually, no. It's like 10
It's
hours
1
now.
Yeah. Still.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm gonna close things off. I'll stop recording.
Yep.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for being here. Deance, you're fucking amazing. Zirene, you're obviously
bro.
amazing. Crix, I fucking love you, dog. I'll send this
Hell
in the group chat to you guys.
Check the audio.
Yeah, I will. All right. Much love, guys. I'm gonna stop
Yep.
recording.
Peace.
All right, see ya. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.